Important update about YouTube playlists. Hey everyone. We've received many messages asking why our YouTube playlists aren't showing up. Do we create YouTube playlists? Yes, we absolutely do. So why can't you see them? Honestly, we're not sure. We've been in contact with YouTube support for several months now, but we still haven't received a clear answer or solution. After much discussion, our team has decided to take matters into our own hands. We believe the issue might be related to the number of playlists we've created on a single channel, possibly too many. Our solution? We're launching 2 additional YouTube channels, giving us a total of 3. This way, we can organize our audiobooks better and avoid the playlist visibility issue in the future. This change only affects our YouTube audience. If you're a patron supporter, you can still access all our audiobooks by visiting the collection menu on Patreon. Thanks so much for your time and continued support. Happy listening. Hearing them talk, Goof helplessly rubbed his forehead. After enduring the monotonous journey for about 10 days, they finally reached the end of the space tunnel and arrived in the northern region of Central Plains. Goof had no intention of lingering in the northern region. His next destination was the central region of Central Plains, Luoshen Gorge. There, a 7th-rank shape-shifting magical beast, the Sky Poison Dragon Scorpion Beast, awaited. Its magic core was the key to unlocking the poison pill method. Moving forward, Goof slowed their pace a bit. After passing through each space tunnel, they would rest for a day or 2 in a nearby city, as not everyone could endure the monotonous journey. About 20 days later, Goof and his group finally reached the edge of the northern region of Central Plains, about to enter the central region. By now, Goof felt that the accumulation of power during this time had deepened his foundation at the peak of Dancester, giving him an opportunity to break through to venerate. So, he instructed the Lion King to find a secluded place where he could enter seclusion to break through. In a cave, Goof opened his attribute panel. Host, Goof age, 17 cultivation, peak 9 star Dancester aptitude, level 101 constitution, level 78 soul, spirit realm initial stage cultivation method, Great Flame Heart Sutra, low heaven tier, techniques, flame devouring cage, high earth tier, sun finger, mid earth tier, heavenly star steps, high earth tier movement technique, 5-ring flame expelling technique, high earth tier, can advance to low heaven tier by gathering 4 different heavenly flames. Alchemy skill, A grade, initial stage fuse different flames, sea heart flame, green lotus core flame, fallen heart flame accumulated emotion value, 46,950 increase cultivation. Looking at the accumulated emotion value, Goof spoke to the system. Congratulations, host, for consuming 40,000 emotion points to gain an enlightenment in cultivation. In his state of enlightenment, Goof felt the barrier between him and venerate rapidly closing. 3 days later, a powerful aura burst out from the cave where Goof was in seclusion, causing the entire mountain to tremble. What a strong pressure! Big Brother Goof seems even stronger. Feeling this terrifying aura, Zhao Yizyan and King Lin felt an overwhelming pressure that made it hard to breathe. Even the more powerful Ziyan and the amethyst-winged Lion King weren't much better off, their faces full of shock as they gazed at the young figure in the sky with deep admiration. In the sky, Goof lazily stretched. His skin began to ripple, and the bones within his body made a series of crisp sounds like a complex machine being activated. So this is the power of venerate. In the next moment, Goof clenched his hand, feeling the vast, ocean-like chi within his body, and couldn't help but be mesmerized. This power had a maddening allure, something countless people spent their lives pursuing, yet they never reached. Next, he extended his hand and suddenly clenched it, causing the space before him to twist into a strange indentation. If this power was applied to a person's body, even a Dancester expert would likely be reduced to a puddle of blood and flesh on the spot. Feeling the immense power that could distort space with a mere gesture, a smile slowly appeared on Goof's face. This realm, which many spend their entire lives striving to reach, he had achieved at just 17 years old. Chapter 77, How could Xun'er be so careless? Goof's cultivation broke through to the venerate level, and his aura continued to rise. The powerful energy spread out, causing a slight and nearly imperceptible ripple in the distant void. Suddenly, a white figure slowly emerged. I didn't expect young master to break through to venerate so smoothly. It seems that the future of our Gu clan is promising and will continue to prosper. An elderly man in a white robe stood in the void, sensing the significant increase in Goof's aura. He stroked his beard, his face full of smiles. This elder was a guardian sent by the Gu clan to protect Goof. At this moment, Goof, having just broken through to venerate, had his senses greatly enhanced. He furrowed his brows, paused, and looked towards the distant sky, vaguely sensing something. However, that strange feeling quickly disappeared. When he tried to sense it again, he found nothing, so he didn't dwell on it. The spot where the white-robed elder had stood was now empty, leaving no trace or aura behind. As expected of the most outstanding talent of the younger generation. Even an old man like me almost got discovered. The white-robed elder quickly concealed his presence when he sensed Goof's faint perception approaching, evading Goof's detection. After Goof left, the elder nodded in satisfaction while watching Goof's retreating figure. Let's go. After his breakthrough, Goof led Zhao Yixian and the others on their journey once again. This time, their destination was a dangerous place in the Pill region called Luoshen Gorge. Although the journey was long, Goof wasn't in a hurry. He had begun to enjoy the slower pace of life, watching the three girls chat, eat, and drink along the way. Occasionally, they would stop to enjoy the scenery. Compared to constant cultivation, this was the life Goof longed for. Ziyan, whose strength was enough to resist Zhao Yixian's passive poison, now walked hand in hand with Zhao Yixian through the city's streets, showing how well they got along. Let's buy some. These things look pretty good. Ziyan looked at Zhao Yixian with a pleading gaze, then turned her eyes toward Goof. Along the way, Zhao Yixian noticed Ziyan's tendency to buy everything she saw, so she had confiscated her storage ring. Although Ziyan's cultivation far surpassed Zhao Yixian's, she didn't dare to resist and meekly handed it over. Only this once today. Zhao Yixian shook her head helplessly, puzzled by how Ziyan's small belly could hold so much food, eating all day long. All right. Seeing Zhao Yixian nod, Ziyan excitedly ran to a nearby stall and began gobbling up the food. Watching this scene, Goof and King Lin couldn't help but laugh, while the transformed Lion King quietly followed the four, his eyes calm but constantly vigilant, performing his duties as a guard. A month later, deep within the Gu clan's territory. Inside an ancient hall, a large group of elders from the Gu clan had gathered. The lowest cultivation among them had reached the half-saint level. Clan leader, Goof broke through to the Venerate realm a month ago. An elder from the Gu clan started the conversation. These old folks loved discussing the younger generation, and Goof, being one of the outstanding youths, was often mentioned. Goof chose to go out and train, and he managed to break through so quickly. That's really impressive. His cultivation speed is even faster than staying in the Gu realm. That boy truly deserves to be called the top of the younger generation. With this, the other juniors can only look up to him. The elders began praising Goof after hearing about his breakthrough. Goof is indeed impressive. At the head of the hall, Gu Yuan moved his fingers slightly, his face filled with a smile. Goof's talent is extraordinary. Wasn't Xun'er also out training? I wonder how she's doing. With her talent, she should have made great progress too, right? At this point, an elder suddenly brought up a question. The air grew quiet for a moment. The smile on Gu Yuan's face remained, but his eyes became more serious. He eagerly awaited the elder's responses. Xun'er was also highly talented, but she had grown restless with cultivating in the Gu realm, slightly falling behind Goof. Now that she was out training, what were the results? Xun'er. Ever since she left, her cultivation hasn't shown much progress. I heard that Xun'er is still at the king stage. An elder who was informed of the situation responded. Two other knowledgeable elders exchanged glances and then chimed in. Half a month ago, I received word that Xun'er had been helping a member of the Zhao clan find a spiritual herb to restore his soul power. She hasn't been focusing on her cultivation at all. Sigh, although Xun'er is quite talented, if she doesn't concentrate on her cultivation, even the best talent will be wasted. These words made Gu Yuan frown, his previous smile disappearing. He had been in seclusion, so he hadn't kept track of Goof and Xun'er's activities. Hearing this news immediately after emerging left him displeased. How could Xun'er be so careless, associating so closely with the kind of person? It will only hinder her own development. After a moment, Gu Yuan let out a heavy sigh, flicked his sleeve, and ordered, send out the order, have Xun'er return to the clan immediately. If she refuses, bring her back by force. This was a vast and expansive stone platform, entirely constructed from pure white rock. Surprisingly, the platform stood 100 meters high, supported by a dozen massive pillars beneath it, grand and majestic. The space above the platform was unusually chaotic and highly distorted, with faint black cracks spreading out. Whoosh! At a certain moment, several streaks of silver light flashed through this distorted space. 5 figures emerged, naturally Goof and his group. After landing on the platform, Zhao Yixian's eyes swept around, and when she saw the towering platform, a hint of surprise appeared in her eyes. So this is the central region? As expected, the center of the G continent even has such a grand teleportation point. As they looked around the bustling platform, they noticed several figures dressed in alchemist robes. At a glance, there were about 20 alchemists. No wonder this was the Pill region. Alchemists, who were rare in other places, were quite common here. Chapter 78, I am the one who will take your life. Upon arriving in the Pill region, Goof and his group, including Zhao Yizhan, decided to rest in a nearby city. After consulting a map, Goof noted that Luoshan Gorge was to the north. Even at their current pace, it would only take a few days to reach it. On the way, Goof lingered in several nearby cities. He currently possessed 3 types of heavenly flames, but the reward given by Skyfire Venerable, the 5-ring flame expelling technique, required 5 types of flames. To enhance the technique's power, Goof took some time to gather 2 additional beast flames. The Pill region, being the center of Central Plains and the Chi continent, offered resources far more accessible than elsewhere. In just one day, Goof managed to find 2 types of beast flames that would typically only appear at auctions in other regions. Though the cost was significant, Goof didn't mind, as his status and background afforded him the luxury to spend freely. Goof, big brother, are you done? Zhao Yizhan asked with a smile as she saw Goof emerge from his room. Yes, we can head out now, Goof nodded. Call those 2 girls, he added. Zhao Yizhan acknowledged and called out to Ziyan and King Lin. Ziyan, with her mouth full of medicinal pills, responded lazily while chewing, then grabbed King Lin and walked over. Goof, big brother. The space wormhole was so boring. Can we ride on the Lion King for a while? Ziyan ran up to Goof, grabbing his arm and shaking it. Goof looked down at Ziyan, who was giving him an innocent look, her almond eyes blinking, with her sharp little fangs showing. When Goof didn't immediately respond, Ziyan shook his arm again, her voice becoming even more coquettish. Goof, big brother, please. Ziyan's pleading emotion increased, emotion value plus 100. Goof pinched the bridge of his nose and sighed helplessly. He couldn't help but wonder how Zhao Yizhan managed to keep this girl in line when he himself was already caving in to her pleas. Alright, but you must behave on the way, he conceded. Ziyan's joyful emotion increased, emotion value plus 100. Thank you, big brother. Ziyan beamed with a wide smile. Goof then turned to the amethyst-winged Lion King and gave it instructions. The Lion King moved to an open area, where its form shimmered before reverting to its massive beast form. Ziyan burst into laughter and quickly jumped onto the Lion King's back. Zhao Yizhan and King Lin followed Goof and boarded right after. Luoshan Gorge, located in the northern part of the Pill region, was a place with extremely complex terrain. Goof's group, riding the amethyst-winged Lion King, arrived at the location. Standing on a high vantage point, Goof gazed into the distance with a calm expression. In front of him was a vast, seemingly endless plain of chaotic rocks. The plain was littered with countless dark cracks, like the gaping maws of demons, emerging from the ground and extending far into the distance. The airy blackness of the cracks sent chills down one's spine. The plain was also scattered with enormous boulders, some as large as small mountains, exuding a dark, ominous aura. In the sky, thick black fog swirled, a result of the toxic fumes rising from the gorge over many years, almost completely obscuring the sky. Let's go in. Faced with this treacherous land, Goof did not walk on the ground. Instead, he continued to have the Lion King fly. Inside the gorge, poisonous creatures roamed freely, and even the ambient energy was tainted with toxic gas. Ordinary cultivators wouldn't dare to train here, let alone fly in the sky. However, with Goof's heavenly flames, any poison in the air that approached them was instantly burned away by the terrifying heat of the flames. Soon, the Lion King reached the depths of the gorge, where the toxic fog was thick, and the air carried a slight stench. Inhaling it could cause serious trouble, but thanks to Goof's protection, Zhao Yizhan and the others remained unharmed. We're almost there. That's our target, Goof said a few minutes later, instructing the Lion King to stop as he pointed ahead. Through the thick poisonous fog, a massive white stone fortress could be seen, its outline faintly visible. Roar! As the Lion King flew within 100 meters of the fortress, the ground suddenly shook violently. A deafening dragon roar erupted from within the fortress, sending a wave of force that scattered the rocks on the ground. This aura! It's actually the woeful poison body. Haha, what luck to run into such a prize today. The dragon roar was followed by a booming laugh, echoing like thunder from within the fortress and rippling through the air. As the laughter subsided, the sharp sound of something cutting through the air was heard. A blood-red figure shot out from the fortress at lightning speed. A pair of massive dragon wings, 10 meters wide, spread out behind the figure. Trailing behind them was a blood-red scorpion tail, its tip gleaming with a sharp, cold light. Even the Lion King couldn't help but stiffen, its huge pupils reflecting fear. The figure before them was far more powerful than the Lion King, likely reaching the level of an 8-starred ancestor. The blood-red figure hovered in the sky, its enormous dragon wings creating gusts of wind with each slow flap. Apart from the wings and the sharp scorpion tail, this sky-poisoned dragon scorpion beast was almost indistinguishable from a human. Its face was strikingly handsome, with a hint of sinister charm. Don't panic, Goof said calmly, placing a protective barrier around the Lion King before leisurely stepping off its neck. He walked towards the sky-poisoned scorpion dragon beast, each step causing his aura to grow stronger. As Goof approached, the sky-poisoned scorpion dragon beast's eyes gradually filled with fear, a stark contrast to its earlier arrogance before the Lion King. Sky-poisoned scorpion dragon beast's fear increased, emotion value +15, but the beast, having grown accustomed to ruling over Luoshen Gorge, was not about to surrender easily, even in the face of Goof's terrifying pressure. Who are you? Are you willing to give up the woeful poisoned body behind you? This king will reward you handsomely. Sky-poisoned scorpion dragon beast's wariness and greed increased, emotion value +15. Its gaze shifted towards Zhao Yizhuan behind Goof, a glint of greed flashing in its eyes. Humphrey. Seeing that the sky-poisoned scorpion dragon beast was still harboring evil intentions towards Zhao Yizhuan, Goof snorted coldly. His aura surged like a tidal wave, crashing down on the beast. I am the one here to take your life. Chapter 79, The Ancient Sunfire Altar, The Poison Pill Method. Could this person be a venerate expert? Feeling the intense pressure emanating from Goof, the sky-poisoned dragon scorpion broke into a cold sweat. However, before he could make any move, the surrounding space suddenly solidified. Immediately, a cage formed of scorching flames enclosed him completely. SSS. SSS. In an instant, the sky scorpion dragon beast felt his skin starting to crackle and pop. Spare me, senior. I offended you out of ignorance. I beg your mercy, please forgive me. Under the searing heat of the heavenly flame prison, the sky-poisoned dragon scorpion quickly realized the vast difference in power between himself and Goof, and hastily begged for mercy. Too late. Goof shook his head, and the range of the high earth tier ranked technique, flame-devouring cage, shrank further. The cage, filled with a fire infused with 3 types of merged heavenly flames, was something the beast, with his ancestor strength, could not withstand. With a series of explosive sounds and painful screams, it transformed into his true form, a massive magical beast, stretching hundreds of meters long. Even in his true form, the sky-poisoned dragon scorpion couldn't escape the flaming prison. Meanwhile, from the distant horizon, a rustling noise arose, followed by a black line sweeping over like a tidal wave. The sky was filled with toxic gas, swirling above the black line, coalescing into a massive toxic cloud. The poisoned beasts of Luoshen Gorge are all coming. Zhao Yizhuan glanced over at the approaching wave, which was not just a black line but an entire sea of poison beasts. The toxic cloud hovering in the air was formed from the breath of these creatures. Despite the countless poison beasts approaching, Zhao Yizhuan, King Lin, and Ziyan showed no fear. After all, the strongest among them, the sky-poisoned dragon scorpion, had been easily subdued by Goof. No matter how many beasts there were, they posed no real threat. Senior, I am a member of the dragon scorpion clan. I beg you to spare my life. The beast spoke in human tongue, continuing to plead with Goof, revealing his identity. It was clear that he hoped to use the powerful influence of the dragon scorpion clan to intimidate Goof. The dragon scorpion clan. Not much of a backing. Hearing this, Goof's face showed a hint of amusement. In this world, there were few who could use their background to suppress him. After all, he belonged to the Gu clan, widely recognized as the foremost of the ancient clans. Even the Hun clan had to acknowledge the Gu clan as the leading ancient clan. Our leader was defeated by a human? Is that human a venerate? The distant beast horde erupted in exclamations. They had witnessed their leader begging for mercy. As a result, some of the more intelligent beasts hesitated to advance, fearing for their lives. Those driven purely by instinct, however, continued charging forward under the sky-poisoned dragon scorpion's control, heedless of death. It's time to send you off. Goof had no intention of lingering. Seeing that the sky-poisoned dragon scorpion was nearly roasted, he flashed above the beast and delivered a powerful punch to its head. With this punch, the beast instantly lost all consciousness, and the vitality within his massive body quickly drained away. I wonder what kind of powerful figure our leader offended to be hunted down like this. Amid the poison beast horde, a yellow-clad man with a humanoid appearance pondered rapidly, his eyes darting back and forth. How dare you kill our leader? The dragon scorpion clan will not let you get away with this. A massive, hill-sized beast finally snapped back to reality and roared at Goof. Annoying. Goof's face showed a trace of impatience. With a grasping motion, a powerful spatial force crushed the fat beast. Seeing this, the remaining magical beasts scattered, none daring to linger. These creatures kept invoking the dragon scorpion clan, but when that clan learned of Goof's true identity, they would likely come bearing gifts, begging for forgiveness instead of seeking revenge. My master's power is truly terrifying. It's an honor to follow him. The Lion King watched this scene unfold and felt fortunate about the decision it had made earlier. With the battle over, Goof used his heavenly flame to refine the sky poison dragon scorpion beast's body, leaving behind only a pool of essence blood and a magical core. Now that all the materials are gathered, it's time to initiate the poison pill method for Zhao Yixian. However, to improve the success rate of the poison pill method, we need to find a place where the sun flame is abundant. Goof muttered to himself. He recalled that the Yi clan in Yi City had an ancient sunfire altar. Wonderful! Zhao Yixian will finally be free from the curse of the woeful poison body. Hearing this news, King Lin was overjoyed. Though she had known Zhao Yixian for some time, they could not get too close because of the woeful poison. Next, Goof led the group toward Yi City, which was marked on their map. A day later, a large, dark green city loomed in the distance before Goof and his companions. This city sat on a vast plain, surrounded by lush forests, with roads extending from the woods into the city. We have arrived. Seeing the city nestled in the forest, Goof directed the Lion King to fly directly into it. Yi City, ruled by the once prestigious Yi clan, had fallen from its former glory, yet no one dared challenge its authority. The Yi clan occupied the city center, where their sprawling estate was located. Ordinary people were forbidden from entering this area, which was heavily guarded. Of course, such security measures were only effective against common experts. Goof, riding the amethyst-winged Lion King, flew straight to the Yi clan's estate. Who dares intrude upon the Yi clan? Soon, numerous Emperor and Ancestor experts of the Yi clan appeared to intercept them. Do not be alarmed. I am here only to borrow the Yi clan's ancient sunfire altar. Seeing the interception, Goof calmly explained, no longer bothering to conceal his aura. The aura of a venerate expert left the Yi clan members in shock. Yi Zong feels astonished and excited. Emotional value plus 30. Yi Zinlan feels astonished. Emotional value plus 50. I never expected such a young venerate expert. An elderly man in green robes flew up and scrutinized Goof, his eyes filled with surprise. Through the emotional value notifications, Goof knew this man was Yi Zong, the great elder of the Yi clan. Senior, you should know that our Yi clan's ancient sunfire altar is never lent out. Yi Zong spoke in a somewhat cautious tone. Chapter 80, I'm ready, you can begin. Don't worry, I won't use this for free. I will compensate you afterward. Goof said frankly. In the future, if your Yi family encounters any trouble, I can assist you once. For the current Yi family, this offer was almost impossible to refuse. Senior, please follow me. Upon receiving a promise from a venerate-level expert, Yi Zong immediately showed his resolve and agreed to let Goof use the Sunfire Ancient Altar. Afterward, Yi Zong personally led Goof and his group deeper into the Yi family's territory. About 10 minutes later, they arrived at a secluded stone square. In the center of the square stood a slightly ancient-looking altar. The stones used to build the altar were marked by the passage of time, indicating that this altar had existed for many years. As Goof approached the altar, he noticed that the light here was particularly bright. The closer he got, the more intense and pure the energy in the surrounding space became, with beams of light pouring down from the sky. Not bad, this is indeed a good place. Goof nodded in satisfaction. Then he turned his head and said to Zhao Yixian behind him, enter the altar. Zhao Yixian nodded, lightly touching the ground with her toes as she floated gracefully into the altar. The intense fire energy in the surroundings made her frown slightly, feeling a bit uncomfortable. You all wait outside. Goof dismissed the others and entered the altar himself. Zhao Yixian was now sitting cross-legged in the center of the altar, her upper body straight, with her slender neck and waist forming graceful curves. Goof sat beside her, reaching out to gently push a black stone tablet. Clack, clack. As the stone tablet was pushed, it seemed to activate something, causing the stone walls around the altar to begin moving. In no time, the moving stone walls formed a circular barrier, enclosing Goof and Zhao Yixian within the altar, completely sealing them off from the outside. From the outside, only a towering, ancient stone wall was visible. As the sunlight gathered, the fire energy within the altar grew increasingly dense, eventually transforming into sun fire. The intense heat caused Zhao Yixian to frown slightly. Don't be nervous. Seeing Zhao Yixian's clenched hands, Goof smiled reassuringly. The next moment, a crystal core brimming with violent energy appeared before them. This was the magic core of the sky poison dragon scorpion beast. Remove your clothing, I am going to start condensing the poison pill for you. Goof said calmly. Upon hearing this, a blush spread across Zhao Yixian's face. However, seeing Goof's serious expression, she knew it was not the time to be shy. Her delicate hands gently loosened her robe, and it slid down her smooth, fair skin, revealing a perfect, jade-like body under the intense sunlight. As Zhao Yixian's flawless figure was exposed before him, Goof's gaze couldn't help but flicker. Brother Goof, I am ready. You can begin. Zhao Yixian closed her eyes and said softly, her previously pale skin now gradually taking on a faint pink hue. As Goof's hand touched her smooth skin, Zhao Yizhuan's body trembled slightly at the warm sensation. This tantalizing sensation momentarily stirred Goof's senses. However, Goof quickly pushed aside any distracting thoughts. He focused his mind, beginning to channel the heavenly flame into Zhao Yizhuan's body. The flames formed from the fusion of 3 types of heavenly flame started to guide the gray poison gas within Zhao Yizhuan's body, rapidly forcing it to compress. Under Goof's deliberate control, all the poison gas began to converge toward Zhao Yizhuan's lower abdomen. The poison gas has gathered. Now, extract it with the magic core and purify it with the Bodhisattva transformation saliva. Sensing the gathered poison gas, Goof grabbed the crystal core of the heaven poison dragon scorpion beast and pressed it against Zhao Yizhuan's lower abdomen. Immediately after, Goof slightly bent his hand, drawing the Bodhisattva transformation saliva from a jade box. Under the refining heat, the saliva released numerous green dust particles, which slowly fell but did not completely separate from the main mass. Instead, they continued to condense at the bottom, forming a small green bead the size of a thumb. Goof wasn't surprised by this bead. He collected it and then applied the refined Bodhisattva transformation saliva to Zhao Yizhuan's abdomen. As the body transformation saliva permeated her body, Zhao Yizhuan's meridians and muscles, which had previously lost some vitality due to the poison gas, began to rejuvenate with even greater vitality than before. After all, the woeful poison body was still in its early stages, making it relatively easy to control, allowing the process to go smoothly. With Zhao Yizhuan's effort, all the poison gas in her body was absorbed into the poison pill. Once the poison pill was condensed, the woeful poison body would be entirely under her control, never to erupt again. Everything is done. Zhao Yizhuan, from now on, the woeful poison body will have no drawbacks. Goof removed his hands from Zhao Yizhuan's skin, smiling. Yes. Zhao Yizhuan responded softly, her voice tender. Her bare body, like warm jade, now emitted a faint glow, making her appear almost like a celestial maiden, exuding a sense of purity. Brother Goof, thank you. Zhao Yizhuan said gratefully, then slowly turned around. At this moment, her smooth, pink skin, and the snowy curve of her front, were fully exposed to Goof. Goof was not a saint. Faced with such a perfect body, the flames within him seemed difficult to suppress. Moreover, after spending time together, their relationship had long surpassed that of mere friends. As their eyes met, their bodies drew closer, tightly entwined. Medusa Queen feels ashamed and angry, emotional value plus 100. Just as Goof was becoming lost in the moment, a system notification suddenly sounded. Damn, how could I forget this? Hearing the prompt, Goof, who was tightly embracing Zhao Yizhuan, quickly glanced behind him. In his sight, the 7-colored little snake that had been hiding in his sleeve had now slithered to the edge of the altar, facing away from him and Zhao Yizhuan. Brother Goof. At this moment, Zhao Yizhuan's cold hands roamed over Goof's body, causing him to forget the awkward situation entirely. The two of them continued to embrace each other tightly. Chapter 81, Is the gap between us really this big? In the capital city of Jiama Empire. These days, the city was bustling with excitement. The Alchemist Grand Meeting, held only once every few years, had drawn countless spectators. This competition among alchemists captivated everyone's attention. However, the final result of the Alchemist Grand Meeting left many in the Jiama Empire dissatisfied, even furious. The reason was that the first-place winner turned out to be an alchemist from the Chuyan Empire. This outcome was a huge blow to the members of the Jiama Empire's Alchemist Association, who felt deeply humiliated, and the overall morale in the empire took a significant hit. The Jiama Empire and Chuyan Empire had always been enemies, with constant wars and conflicts between the two nations. Now, in the capital of the Jiama Empire, the first place in the Alchemist Grand Meeting was taken by someone from the enemy country. How laughable. That evening, after the competition had ended, a light shone from a room in an inn in the capital, but no sound came out for a long time. At this moment, Zhao Yan was sitting alone in his room, his brow furrowed, and a look of frustration on his face. There really is always someone better out there. A girl younger than me with such incredible talent in alchemy. Zhao Yan thought to himself, sighing. He had also participated in the competition but had only secured 3rd place. The 2nd place went to Princess Xun'er. Losing to the alchemist from Chuyan Empire didn't bother Zhao Yan too much since that person was much older in reality. But Princess Yao's prowess made Zhao Yan start to doubt the alchemical talent he had always prided himself on. Knock, knock. Suddenly, there was a knock on the door. Zhao Yan cleared his throat, quickly hiding his frustrated expression, and said, "Come in." A delicate hand slowly pushed open the door, and a familiar figure walked in. Seeing the familiar, charming face, Zhao Yan felt a sense of relief and smiled. It was Xun'er. Zhao Yan Jige, how did you do today? Xun'er walked over and sat beside Zhao Yan, her eyes curved in a smile as she asked. Third place. That hidden alchemist from Chuyan Empire was indeed formidable, but I didn't expect that little girl nurtured by the GMR royal family to have such impressive alchemical skills. Could it be that Goof's casual guidance is really that powerful? Zhao Yan rubbed his nose, feeling a bit dejected. He had heard about Princess Yayu being guided by someone named Goof when he arrived in the capital, but he hadn't paid much attention to it at the time. After all, he had only recently heard of Goof and didn't consider him a widely known or revered figure. But today, Princess Yayu's alchemical skills far exceeded his expectations. If he had only lost to the alchemist from Chuyan Empire, it would have been understandable, but he had been training with Yao Lao for so long, how could he lose to Princess Xun'er or, more precisely, to Goof? At this moment, Zhao Yan was still unaware of Goof's true identity. He had only heard that Goof was an exceptionally talented young man who had appeared in the capital a few months ago with a 6th-rank flying magical beast as his mount, causing quite a stir. He didn't realize that Goof's alchemical abilities were also this formidable. Goof? Hearing Zhao Yan mention Goof, Xun'er's eyes flickered, and her breath caught for a moment. She paused, then nodded slightly and said softly, if it was Goof giving guidance, then it's not surprising. Xun'er knew of Goof's alchemical prowess. Back in the Gu clan, he had already been a 7th-grade alchemist. In terms of alchemical knowledge and talent, Goof was among the best in the entire Gu clan. Let alone in a mere GMA empire. You know him? Hearing Xun'er's tone, Zhao Yan couldn't help but ask, puzzled. I know him. But not very well. Xun'er's body tensed slightly at Zhao Yan's question, and she quickly responded in a casual manner to avoid further probing. Instinctively, she didn't want Zhao Yan to know that she had been married before. But seeing the lingering doubt in Zhao Yan's eyes, Xun'er wasn't flustered. Instead, she thought of a way to change the topic. She took something out of her storage ring and placed it in Zhao Yan's hand. A spiritual herb, emitting a faint spiritual energy, quietly bloomed with a bluish flower, its petals glowing softly. This was a spiritual herb Xun'er had found after learning that the 7 magical green spirit saliva had been taken by Goof. It was another herb that could help restore soul power. Zhao Yan's attention was finally diverted, his eyes fixated on the herb. Xun'er smiled sweetly and said, Zhao Yan Jige, this is a spiritual herb that can help restore soul power. Zhao Yan's eyes widened in surprise. Xun'er gently placed it in his hand, and his eyes softened with gratitude. Xun'er, thank you. Zhao Yan Jige, as long as I can help you, that's enough. Zhao Yan put away the herb, and the two shared a smile, their emotions quietly flowing through their gazes. Suddenly, the space in the room rippled. Xun'er's eyes narrowed. Elder Nanhai. She quickly turned around, seeing a familiar elderly face. Xun'er stood up nervously, trying to shield Zhao Yan behind her without drawing attention. She knew that most of the elders of the Gu clan didn't like Zhao Yan, so if they suddenly appeared, could it be that they intended to? Meanwhile, Zhao Yan, standing behind Xun'er, was utterly confused. The pressure from the elderly man who suddenly appeared was overwhelming, making Zhao Yan feel like he could be crushed like an ant if the elder wished to kill him. Xun'er, it's time to return home. The elder from the Gu clan, his gaze sweeping over Zhao Yan, looked at Xun'er with a meaningful expression. I am not going back. Upon hearing yet another plea for her to return, Xun'er's brow furrowed, and she refused without hesitation. She had just reunited with Zhao Yan and didn't want to part so soon. Hearing this, the Gu clan elder frowned and glanced at Zhao Yan. Xun'er, since you left the Gu clan, your progress has stalled. Do you know that Goof has already broken through to the Venerate realm in less than a year since leaving the Gu clan? Your performance has deeply disappointed the clan leader and the elders. If not for your stagnant cultivation, we wouldn't be forced to bring you back. The elder spoke with a tone of disappointment and sighed. Goof broke through to Venerate. Xun'er was stunned by the elder's words, taking a moment to react, her face full of surprise. Clearly, the rapid advancement of Goof's cultivation was far beyond her expectations. Has the gap between us grown this big without me even realizing it? Xun'er lowered her eyes, her mind involuntarily recalling certain events in the Gu clan, and a hint of bitterness appeared on her face. She bit her rosy lower lip lightly, and her fingertips unconsciously dug into her palm. However, she quickly composed herself, her gaze calming as she thought of Zhao Yan behind her and decided to plead. Elder Nanhai, it's not that I have been neglecting my cultivation. I will certainly work hard from now on. Could you give me more time? She pleaded with a bit of desperation, her brow furrowed. Goof is Advenerate. Advenerate is even stronger than a Dancester. Beside her, Zhao Yan, who had been listening to the conversation between Xun'er and Gu Nanhai, was shocked. In the Jiama Empire, even seeing a Emperor or King was rare. The Advenerate level was, at present, nothing more than a distant legend to him. Chapter 82, Did you do something bad to sister? The clan leader has given the order this time. Even if we have to tie you up, we're taking you back. Facing Xun'er's plea, the elder shook his head sternly and then, in a flash, appeared beside her, separating her from Zhao Yan. Xun'er tried to struggle, but the elder grabbed her, and before Zhao Yan could even blink, the room was empty. Zhao Yan stood there, too terrified to even consider stopping them. He could only watch helplessly as Xun'er gave him one last glance before she was taken away. The elder was simply too terrifying. Xun'er. I am sorry. It was only long after Xun'er left that Zhao Yan finally snapped out of it. This is all my fault for being so cowardly. He shook his head sharply, hating himself for his weakness. Clenching his fists, Zhao Yan's eyes filled with determination as he vowed to one day visit Xun'er's clan to find her. But then, thinking of how powerful her clan was, he began to feel disheartened. That elder alone, without even releasing his full pressure, had immobilized him completely, and that was with Xun'er protecting him. Such a powerful clan. Can I really ever reach them? Zhao Yan laughed bitterly, mocking himself. If he had the strength of a ancestor, he might have the confidence. But sadly, he was too weak, and knowing all this now only crushed his confidence further, making him shrink back. Sigh. I should focus on waking up my teacher first. After a long while, Zhao Yan sighed, taking out the spiritual herb Xun'er had brought him. After all, Xun'er was taken by her clan members, so she shouldn't be in any immediate danger. Yi clan at the ancient altar of the sun fire, Goof gently brushed a stray lock of hair from Zhao Yizyan's face and asked softly, how does your body feel? Zhao Yizyan feels affection, emotion value plus 100. Feeling Goof's tenderness, Zhao Yizyan's cheeks blushed as she replied in a soft voice, I am feeling much better now. Though extremely shy, Zhao Yizyan leaned closer to Goof, resting on his shoulder. The two embraced, their breaths mingling, hearts beating in sync, quietly savoring the union of their souls. This time, Goof and Zhao Yizyan had truly become one. Their relationship had moved beyond friendship, evolving into that of lovers. Even the usually naive Zan and King Lin could sense something different. Although they didn't say it outright, it was clear that the relationship between Goof and Zhao Yizyan had crossed the line from ambiguous friendship. Zhao Yizyan's unconscious reliance on Goof and his patient care made this evident to Zan and King Lin. One day, as they were chatting in a room, Zan lazily sat beside Goof, almost lying on the table. She glanced sideways at Goof, who was carefully combing Zhao Yizyan's hair, her curiosity barely contained. Zan feels curiosity, emotion value plus 100. Big brother Goof, you and sister Zhao Yizyan. Did something happen in that altar? Zan squinted her eyes, giggling with an innocent look, but her question was quite blunt to ask something so directly. Her gaze locked onto their intertwined hands after Goof finished combing Zhao Yizyan's hair, her stare intense. Before Goof could answer, Zhao Yizyan, sitting nearby, straightened up. Her face was already flushed red, her lips trembling as she struggled to speak, her eyes darting around. Kids shouldn't ask such things. Goof chuckled helplessly, gently squeezing Zhao Yizyan's hand for comfort. The warmth of his hand made Zhao Yizyan blush even more. With his other hand, Goof playfully knocked on Zan's forehead, producing a crisp sound, ending the conversation with a yelp from Zan. King Lin feels curiosity, emotion value plus 70. King Lin, being more reserved, didn't ask directly like Zan, but her curious gaze still lingered on them. Goof laughed. These two girls were really nosy. After a few more days, seeing that Zhao Yizyan had fully recovered without any lingering issues, Goof prepared to leave. Before leaving, Goof gave the Yi family a jade slip. This was a spatial jade slip. In the future, if the Yi family ever needed Goof's help, they could crush it to summon him. Thank you, Senior. Safe travels, Senior. After Goof explained its use, Yizong and the others were full of gratitude as they respectfully saw Goof and his group off. Having resolved Zhao Yizyan's woeful poisoned body, Goof's actions in Central Plains became more leisurely. After all, now that he had reached the venerate level, his body constantly absorbed Qi. So he didn't worry about a little relaxation affecting his cultivation. One day, Goof suddenly remembered the soul of Venerable Tianhuo sealed within his ring. We're already in Central Plains now. Goof unsealed the soul, and Tianhuo appeared, his voice ringing out. Thank you, young friend. Seeing the outside world, Venerable Tianhuo's eyes were filled with joy as he glanced around. Then, his gaze fell on Goof, full of astonishment. Tianhuo feels surprise, emotion value plus 50. Venerable Tianhuo couldn't believe that in just a few months, Goof's level had risen from ancestor to venerable. Such talent was nothing short of monstrous. Young friend, your cultivation talent is truly the best I have seen in my lifetime. Venerable Tianhuo praised. After hesitating for a moment, he finally spoke, somewhat awkwardly, young friend, I see that your soul power far exceeds that of ordinary people, and you possess a heavenly flame. You must be an alchemist, right? Goof nodded, already guessing what he might ask next. I have an impolite request, could you help me craft a body? A technique scroll is just for bringing you out. It's not enough to make a body. Goof shook his head with a smile. If young friend is willing to help me regain my body, I would be at your service from then on. Venerable Tian Huo pleaded. He was willing to go all out to regain his physical form. Moreover, following Goof wasn't shameful for Venerable Tian Huo. In the original story, Zhao Yan was too weak. Even when he asked Venerable Tian Huo to be his bodyguard, the latter reluctantly agreed, setting a short time limit. But Goof, so young and already at the venerate level, had limitless potential, possibly even reaching saint. Following him wouldn't be a blow to his pride. Seeing Venerable Tian Huo's anxious expression, Goof hesitated for a moment. Given his status, he didn't really need a follower. His clan's elders were all powerful. However, considering that he might sometimes need to act alone during his travels, having a strong bodyguard for Zhao Yizhuan and King Lin could be beneficial. So, without much hesitation, Goof nodded in agreement. Chapter 83, Goodbye, I will miss you. Yao Tian Huo expresses gratitude, emotion value plus 60. Thank you, my friend. Once I regain my physical body, if you ever need anything, just ask. Venerable Tian Huo's eyes lit up, filled with gratitude as he looked at Goof. However, Goof's hesitant expression made the Venerable a bit unsure. Is there something wrong, my friend? Not exactly, it's just that to revive you, I still lack a few essential items, Goof replied, shaking his head lightly. Although Goof had agreed to help the Venerable rebuild his physical body, it couldn't be done immediately. Goof didn't carry the required human body with him, despite having the necessary pills and magical beast blood. No worries, after all these years of waiting, I don't mind waiting a little longer, Heavenly Fire Venerable said, reassured, trusting that Goof wouldn't go back on his word easily. So, the Venerable's soul returned to the storage ring, waiting for Goof to find a suitable human body to begin the process of resurrection. After resolving the hidden dangers of the woeful poisoned body for Zhao Yizhuan, Goof's next priority was to focus on collecting and refining different kinds of heavenly flames. Recalling the original story, Goof realized that the only known unrefined heavenly flame was the 3,000 burning flames, which was imprisoned by the Pill Tower. No one had yet refined it, and everyone had a chance to try. However, this opportunity required obtaining a place in the top 10 of the Pill Tower's competition. Getting into the top 10 wouldn't be difficult for Goof, but with a few years left before the competition, he didn't plan on waiting. All rules can be broken with enough power. Goof decided to head to the Pill region to try his luck. Though the Pill Tower's rule stated that only the top 10 could attempt to subdue the 3,000 burning flames, Goof believed that with enough leverage, the Pill Tower might make an exception for him. The Pill Tower was located in Holy Pill City, the heart of the Central Plains. Goof was already in the Pill region, so it wouldn't be much of a hassle. The journey was mostly uneventful, but there were exceptions. One evening, Goof and his group encountered trouble with a faction within the Pill region. Kill that magical beast for me, and kill the man too. Leave the women to warm my bed. Opposite Goof, 3 flying magical beasts hovered. The leader was a young man in his 20s, looking at Goof's group with a mocking smile, while the 2 elderly men beside him also showed cruel smiles. Having a 6th-rank flying magical beast wasn't uncommon in the Pill region, so the other group clearly didn't take Goof and his companions seriously. I was just worried about not having a body to use, and here you are, right on time. Hearing the young man's words, Goof's eyes flashed with killing intent. With a wave of his hand, everyone except the young man and the 2 elderly men was instantly crushed. What? Seeing this terrifying scene, the young man turned pale. Among the dead was a Dancester, who had been killed without warning. Master Li, Master Wang, protect me. The young man quickly hid behind the 2 elderly men. The 2 elders, a 7-star and an 8-star Dancester, also felt a sense of fear, as Goof's earlier action had placed immense pressure on them. Senior. We were foolish, please don't hold it against us. One of them quickly lowered his head, trembling. The young man hadn't expected to kick such a tough opponent, realizing that not even the 2 elders could protect him. It's too late. Goof said coldly. If he hadn't been strong enough, he would have been the one dead, so he had no mercy for these people. In the blink of an eye, the young man and the 2 Dancestors were all killed by Goof. He kept the body of the 8-starred ancestor, planning to use it to revive Venerable Tian Huo. Zhao Yizhuan and King Lin were unfazed by the scene. If they had the strength, they would have done the same, knowing what fate awaited them if they were weaker. Let's go. Next, Goof found a secluded place, took out the pills, several bottles of magical beast blood, and the corpse. He then released the soul of the Heavenly Fire Venerable from the ring. Sir Yao, Give me a strand of your soul power, Goof said calmly, confident that he could succeed in this resurrection technique, even though he had never attempted it before. Without hesitation, Venerable Tian Huo extracted a strand of his soul power from his brow and sent it toward Goof. Goof caught the soul strand and casually infused it into the corpse. He then tossed a pill to him, saying, "Take this and enter the body as soon as I give the signal." Venerable Tian Huo nodded gravely, swallowed the pill without hesitation, and looked eager. Goof then began refining the corpse with heavenly flames, infusing it with magical beast blood to energize the body. As the blood merged, the corpse started to come alive. "Sir Yao, now!" At Goof's command, the Venerable Tian Huo's soul shot into the body, feeling a burning heat, but instead of pain, he laughed with joy. When he opened his eyes again, Yao Tian Huo felt truly alive, no longer a mere wandering soul. Although his strength hadn't returned to its peak, he had reached the level of a 2-star venerate. It would take a few years to regain his former power. Yao Tian Huo expresses gratitude, emotion value plus 50. Great kindness needs no thanks. From now on, I am at your service, my friend. He was so overwhelmed by the sensation of being alive again that he was nearly brought to tears. Now, Goof's group had one more member. Though the Venerable wasn't talkative, the lively atmosphere grew on him. One day, as Ziyan was chewing on a pill, she suddenly froze, her expression turning serious. Noticing this, Zhao Yizyan asked, "Ziyan, is something wrong?" "Big sister Zhao Yizyan. I think I sense a presence connected to my bloodline," Ziyan said softly, her gaze following the faint trace of that presence. Chapter 84, Xun'er's judgment is really poor. In a void of darkness, an empty space where no mountains, water, or trees exist. Instead, it is filled with terrifying astral winds that could scatter souls and chaotic spatial currents capable of shredding even a powerful venerate. At the center of this chaotic storm resides a massive, purple beast, hundreds of feet long. These spatial currents causing no harm to it, instead, it appears that the beast's body is being tempered by this harsh environment, growing stronger and more resilient. Suddenly, the beast, coiled within the chaotic space, turns its massive head, its mountain-sized pupils glowing with a ghostly purple light. This enormous creature is revealed to be a purple dragon, its scales harder than steel by several orders of magnitude. This is the aura of royal blood. The purple dragon senses the long-sought aura of royal blood, its gaze locking onto a specific direction. It opens its mouth and shouts in a voice full of excitement. Connected to Zaen's bloodline. Could it be someone from the ancient Void Dragon tribe has arrived? At this moment, Goof, riding on the Lion King's back, hears Zaen's words and quickly deduces the situation. In the original story, Zaen was sensed by members of the ancient Void Dragon clan and was taken back to their clan shortly after arriving in the central region. However, Goof cannot be certain whether this ancient Void Dragon is a friend or foe, given the clan's current chaotic state. Since the old Dragon Emperor's disappearance, the clan has splintered into 4 factions. Among them, the Western, Southern, and Northern Dragon Kings harbor greedy ambitions to become the sole ruler of the clan. Only the elders and members of the Eastern Dragon Island remain loyal to the royal bloodline, tirelessly searching for it. "Zun, could this mean there are members of your clan nearby?" King Lin asks, her voice gentle and shy. Zun, though uncertain, nods hesitantly, her eyes full of doubt. She then looks to Goof, hoping for some reassurance. Although thrilled by the sudden connection to her bloodline, she also feels a nervous apprehension and seeks Goof's confirmation. "Zun, if you have already sensed it, then your clan members should also be able to sense your presence." "There's no need to worry," Goof reassures her with a smile, easing her mind a little. Zaen responds with a nod before falling into a contemplative silence. Shortly after, a rift suddenly tears open in the space before them. Zaen's eyes flicker as she senses the bloodline connection growing stronger and closer, allowing her to clearly perceive it. A robust figure steps out of the rift. As soon as this figure appears, an overwhelming pressure descends upon the area, causing the Lion King, a peak 6th-rank magical beast, to tremble in fear. An 8-star venerate. Having just regained his physical form, the Heaven Flame Venerable immediately detects the newcomer's strength, his expression unusually serious. Goof also feels the robust figure's aura but remains unperturbed. Although he cannot yet defeat this person, he is not worried. Ever since his recent breakthrough to venerate, Goof had sensed a familiar aura momentarily. Though he couldn't identify it at the time, he now suspects that the ancient clan elders may be secretly tracking and protecting him. If he is wrong, Goof is still confident in his ability to crush the spatial jade slip provided by his grandfather. Despite the formidable presence of this 8-starred venerate, Goof remains calm and unafraid. "Haha, it really is the royal bloodline. I have finally found it." The robust figure, a middle-aged man in leather armor, exclaims excitedly, his gaze locked onto Zun. For some reason, Zan's eyes are also fixated on him, her emotions uncertain. After a moment, the man laughs heartily, his voice booming like thunder across the sky, filled with overwhelming dragon might. Zan, her eyes wide with a mix of surprise and joy, feels an instinctive sense of kinship with this man. "Are you one of my clan members?" she asks, hesitantly smiling. "Yes, we are both of the ancient Void Dragon clan, and you are of the royal bloodline." The man nods, smiling, and says, "Allow High King to escort you back to the clan. The Grand Elders will be overjoyed to learn of your return." "High King?" Goof's remaining doubts vanish upon hearing the name. He recalls this ancient Void Dragon member well, as High King appeared frequently in the original story. He even sacrificed his life to protect the royal bloodline during the Dragon Clan's rebellion. Zan takes a deep breath and looks at Goof. Seeing him nod in approval, her eyes reveal a trace of reluctance. Zan feels reluctant, emotion value plus 100 since someone has come for her and Goof has confirmed it. Zan knows she must leave. Although she had longed to uncover her true origins, now that the opportunity has arrived, she finds herself unwilling to part. "Goodbye, brother Goof. Farewell, sister Zhao Yizhan, King Lin. Until we meet again." Zan, struggling to contain her emotions, bids a tearful farewell to Goof, Zhao Yizhan, and King Lin. "Goodbye." Zhao Yizhan and King Lin respond, their eyes misty with unshed tears. "Zan, until we meet again." Goof waves as they watch Zan and follow High King into the space rift. In the blink of an eye, they disappear from sight. The royal bloodline of the ancient Void Dragon clan. Who would have thought? The women Goof associates with are all extraordinary, one with the woeful poisoned body, another with the triple jade green snake flower pupils. In a distant void, a white-robed elder watches with a look of astonishment. Sigh. Compared to Goof, Xun'er's judgment of people is truly lacking. The elder sighs, thinking of certain matters, unable to hide his disappointment. Chapter 85, Don't worry, let me take you to find the heavenly flame. On the northwestern region, a young man dressed in black, carrying a large black ruler on his back, walked alone on a yellow dirt road, 100 miles from the capital of the Jiama Empire. The young man's expression was calm, and his clothes were stained with a faint scent of blood. Visible patches of skin bore various sword scars. This young man was none other than Zhao Yan, who had fought with Nellen Yanren earlier that day. Nellen Yanren's attacks had been fierce, and ordinary medicinal pills were not effective for healing. Zhao Yan didn't mind, merely wiping the sweat from his forehead, his heart calm. This time, unlike in the original story, Zhao Yan did not meet Hai Bodong or Queen Medusa. There was no one to protect him, and Yun Yun did not miss the duel like she did in the original. As a result, after climbing the mountain, Zhao Yan, cautious of certain things, didn't act too arrogantly, nor did he speak as aggressively as he did in the original story. Earlier that day, on the grand square of the Misty Cloud sect, Nellen Yanren, dressed in a moon-white robe, had shed the naivety of her youth. Upon seeing Zhao Yan, whom she hadn't seen in 3 years, she slightly raised her chin, her eyes proud, and her delicate face bore a hint of coldness. Drawing her sword, she pointed its tip directly at Zhao Yan. "Nellen Yanren, the 3-year agreement has come. Today, let's settle the grievances of these 3 years with this duel," Zhao Yan said in a deep voice, drawing the massive black ruler from his back. His body tensed, ready for battle. 3 years had passed, and both were among the most talented individuals in the Jiama Empire, each making significant progress. "I hope this farce ends soon." Yun Yun, on the high platform, lowered her eyes, her gaze resting on Zhao Yan and Nellen Yanren as they prepared to fight, sighing lightly in her heart. Thinking back to the events of that year, Yun Yun still felt some guilt toward the Zhao family. After all, Nellen Yanren's actions back then had been a bit too aggressive. Perhaps if the two families had discussed things privately, today's situation could have been avoided. On the square, the air was still for a moment. Zhao Yan's fingers trembled as he moved swiftly, closing the distance between him and Nellen Yanren in no time. She snorted coldly, twisting her wrist, and the sword skillfully blocked the space between them. The intense chi fluctuated wildly, with bursts of dazzling light erupting from the center of their confrontation. Yun Yun watched quietly. Though Zhao Yan's attacks were fierce, each move seemingly life-threatening, Yun Yun wasn't worried about Nellen Yanren. This 3-year duel was also a good opportunity for Yanren to gain experience. Win or lose, this fight would benefit her strength and mindset greatly. And with Yun Yun present, even if Yanren were to lose, she wouldn't be in any real danger. Yun Yun was confident she could save Yanren from a teenager under 20. She's reached the Grandmaster level? Zhao Yan, on the other hand, had not broken through to the Grandmaster level because Yao Lao had entered a deep sleep early, and he hadn't refined the Green Lotus core flame. Initially, he had the upper hand due to his well-honed techniques from training in the Demonic Beast Mountain range. However, as Nellen Yanren revealed her Grandmaster level and used some of the Misty Cloud sect's secret combat techniques, Zhao Yan quickly found himself at a disadvantage, forced to retreat step by step. Zhao Yan, you have lost. Nellen Yanren said from her brief position in the air, her voice cold and commanding. She was confident that she could end this duel and defeat Zhao Yan in just a few more moves. It seems I have no choice but to use that. Zhao Yan frowned, his eyes filled with complex thoughts as if making a difficult decision. In the next moment, the heavy black ruler in Zhao Yan's hand suddenly emitted a layer of golden light. The intense heat radiating from it was palpable to everyone in the square. In their next clash, the flame melted Nellen Yanren's chi attack and quickly breached her defenses, reaching her sword. The flame burned with astonishing speed, the sacred gold appearing ready to incinerate everything. How is this possible? Nellen Yanren's face was full of shock before she quickly discarded her sword. What kind of flame is this that it can burn chi? Yun was equally shocked by the sight of the golden flame. In a flash, she appeared between the two combatants, standing protectively in front of Nellen Yanren. Yanren, admit defeat. Yun commanded coldly, not turning her head. Nellen Yanren's beautiful eyes flashed with reluctance. Teacher. This flame is incredibly powerful. If you continue to fight, the consequences could be dire. Yun's tone was firm, and her concern evident. I admit defeat, Nellen Yanren finally conceded, lowering her head in a subdued tone. The moment Nellen Yanren admitted defeat, Zhao Yan retracted the golden flame. Covered in sword wounds and bloodstains, he leaned on the heavy ruler, barely standing. The flame he had used was a wisp of the Gold Emperor incinerating heavenly flame that Xun'er had given him. With it, Zhao Yan managed to turn the tables, forcing Nellen Yanren to surrender. Understanding that he had won through external means, and feeling his victory was not entirely honorable, Zhao Yan did not press further. Moreover, with Yun, a emperor, present, he knew he couldn't rely on the flame to threaten her. He let out a hearty laugh and promptly turned to leave without hesitation. Zhao Yan, it seems your training has progressed well. As Zhao Yan walked, reflecting on the day's events, a familiar, aged voice suddenly rang in his mind. Zhao Yan froze, then quickly realized Yao Lao had awakened. Teacher, you're awake. Zhao Yan exclaimed, his face breaking into a wide smile. He began recounting the events of the past few months to the newly awakened Yao Lao, though he no longer cared much about Nellen Yanren. What really concerned him was the incident where Xun'er was taken away in the Jiama Empire. Yao Lao listened in silence for a moment after Zhao Yan finished his story. Zhao Yan, focus on your cultivation. There are some things that won't benefit you to know too early. Yao Lao sighed deeply. From Zhao Yan's words, Yao Lao had deduced some things. As the old man had mentioned, Goof likely reached the venerate realm at an age similar to Xun'er's. Such monstrous talent was something Yao Lao had never encountered before, even in his days among the Yao clan. The flame mantra has the potential to change everything. As long as you train diligently, your future might be just as promising as anyone's. Yao Lao said in a low voice, noticing Zhao Yan's worried expression. His words were not just comforting, the flame mantra indeed possessed power beyond its rank. Teacher, you had me train in the Magic Beast Mountain Range. Where should we go next? Zhao Yan asked. Yao Lao pondered for a moment before a place suddenly came to mind. Next, we're heading to the Tager Desert. If my memory serves me right, there might be a heavenly flame there. Chapter 86, Star Realm, 3000 Burning Flame. Pill region. As Ziyan's figure completely disappeared, Zhao Yizyan and King Lin reluctantly withdrew their gazes. We should be happy that Ziyan got to meet her clansmen this time, and it's not like we won't see her again. Goof consoled them with a carefree demeanor. After that, they climbed onto the back of the Lion King and started heading toward Holy Pill City. Inside the spatial wormhole, it was as monotonous as always, but this time it wasn't silent. On a wide space tunnel, countless spaceships zipped by, and the air was filled with the noise of travelers, making the space tunnel lively. As they continued their journey through this bustling route, the legendary Holy Pill City grew ever closer. One morning, Zhao Yizyan woke up early, and after a brief wash, she planned to wake up King Lin. She cleared her throat. King Lin, Z. It's time to get up, we're almost there. Habitually calling out Ziyan's name, she paused, covering the sadness in her eyes. After all, they had been through so much together, and even though 2 days had passed, Zhao Yizyan was still not used to Ziyan's sudden departure. Goof quickly noticed her sudden hesitation. He embraced Zhao Yizyan, holding her close with his warm body. Don't be too sad, we will meet Ziyan again in the future. Zhao Yizyan looked up, hesitatingly asking, really? Goof gently rubbed Zhao Yizyan's head, smiling as he said, we definitely will. Zhao Yizyan developed feelings of dependence, emotion value +100. Zhao Yizyan murmured a response, nestling herself into Goof's embrace, a happy smile on her face. A few days later, after emerging from the spatial wormhole again, Goof, Zhao Yizhuan, and the others found themselves in a massive plaza entirely constructed of crimson rock. The plaza seemed endless, with the only visible feature being a red line stretching to the horizon. Judging by its size, it was at least 1,000 meters wide, and standing in it made a person feel as insignificant as a tiny ant. Wow! This is so magnificent! King Lin exclaimed in awe, her eyes filled with curiosity. This is just one of the space points outside Holy Pill City. There are 8 such space plazas in the outer region, Goof explained. A plaza like this is probably almost a tenth the size of Yi City, and yet Holy Pill City has 8 of them. Zhao Yizhuan and King Lin couldn't help but marvel at the grandeur of the place, their eyes filled with curiosity and anticipation as they looked around. Haha, no need to be surprised. Holy Pill City is divided into an outer region and an inner region. Right now, we're in the outer region, and the Pill Tower is in the inner region. However, whether it's the outer or inner region, it's all under the jurisdiction of the Pill Tower, Goof said, laughing at their astonished expressions. Although Holy Pill City is called a city, it's far from an ordinary city. In terms of size alone, even dozens of Yi cities couldn't compare to it. Venerable Tian Huo didn't say anything, but his eyes also held a hint of yearning. However, his reaction wasn't as exaggerated as Zhao Yizhuan and King Lin's. He had been here before, so he knew a bit about Holy Pill City. In this true central area of the Central Plains, riding a 6th-rank flying magical beast would still attract attention, but it wouldn't be seen as unusual. Here, even a 6th-grade alchemist, a rare and highly valued existence in the outside world, seemed quite ordinary. In just a short time after entering the outer region, Goof and his group encountered at least 2 or 3 people wearing 6th-grade alchemist badges. Since it was already dusk, Goof didn't take the group around Holy Pill City but instead found an inn where they could stay. As time passed, night slowly descended over the entire city. On the balcony of the inn's 2nd floor, Goof stood with his hands behind his back, gazing at the brilliant stars in the sky. The 3,000 burning flame was hidden within the starry sky of the inner region of Sacred Pill City. Goof was determined to obtain the 3,000 burning flame. Beside him stood Zhao Yizhuan, dressed in a white dress, gracefully poised. The moonlight poured down from the sky, shining on her body like a silver veil, adding an extra touch of allure. Not resting yet? Goof smiled, wrapping his arm around her slender waist and whispering in her ear, causing Zhao Yizhuan to blush and soften her gaze. Zhao Yizhuan felt shy, emotion value plus 100 by now. Goof and Zhao Yizhuan had become a couple, and their conversations were filled with flirtation. She still had the gentle smile of the Zhao Yizhuan from Qingshan Town, her red lips slightly upturned. Though she appeared delicate and harmless, she possessed the terrifying woeful poise and body. Her physique allowed her to cultivate rapidly, and now Zhao Yizhuan had reached the spirit level. This terrifying speed was even after Goof had previously instructed her to control the dosage of her poison pills, intentionally suppressing her growth. After all, in the original story, Zhao Yizhuan took just over 3 years to grow from someone who had never cultivated before to a 3-starred ancestor. And that little girl King Lin, now also had the strength of a grandmaster. She could absorb the energy of snake-shaped magical beasts controlled by her triple jade green snake flower pupils. This chi-like ability was akin to the energy-absorbing techniques in martial arts worlds. On the balcony, the 2 of them leaned against each other, quietly admiring the vast starry sky. I am a little tired, Zhao Yizhuan softly said, closing her eyes for a moment. Goof gently massaged her temples and whispered, then rest early. You should rest early too, Zhao Yizhuan gave Goof a wistful look before turning to leave. After Zhao Yizhuan went inside her room, Goof's eyes flickered. Then, he slowly closed them. At the moment his eyes shut, a vast amount of spiritual energy surged from the center of his brows, spreading out and extending toward the dazzling starry sky. Soon, this spiritual energy penetrated a strange energy barrier and entered a dark realm. In this spiritual vision, a massive dragon, almost endless in sight, coiled and hovered, its eyes closed. Around its body, a peculiar purple-black flame swirled. So this is the 3,000 burning flame, no wonder it ranks 9th on the heavenly flame ranking. Goof murmured to himself as he observed the purple-black flames and the pressure emanating from the dragon's body. The 3,000 burning flame, also known as the 3,000-star burning flame, forms in the starry sky and can absorb the power of the stars, continuously growing stronger. According to ancient records, when the 3,000 burning flame forms, silver flames would descend from the sky, turning a 1,000-mile radius into a desert. Day and night would become indistinguishable, stars would disappear, and the sun could not rise. Because it resided in a place as unreachable as the starry sky, The 3000 burning flame could usually exist relatively longer than the other heavenly flames, allowing itself sufficient time to evolve. Thus, most discovered 3000 burning flames are highly intelligent and among the most powerful spiritual beings. Even if one were to find it, capturing it would be an extremely difficult task. This heavenly flame possesses a unique ability known as the 3000 star constitution, allowing it to absorb the power of stars to strengthen itself or heal wounds. For this reason, some strong individuals who have fought against those possessing the 3000 burning flame have dubbed this body the Undying Body. At this moment, Goof's heart burned with desire as he gazed at the silently burning purple-black flame. Who dares to spy on the star realm of Holy Pill City? Just as Goof was pondering, a stern voice suddenly rang out in his soul. The unexpected shout carried immense pressure, impacting his spiritual energy. However, his soul was already at the spirit realm stage, so the wisp of his spiritual energy wasn't dispersed. Instead, it quietly returned to his body. Chapter 87, How could I have such filthy thoughts? It's time to sleep. With his soul power withdrawn from the star realm, Goof slowly turned around as if nothing had happened earlier. He then went directly to Zhao Yixian's room. Zhao Yixian, are you asleep? Goof asked softly, but there was no response from inside the room. However, he noticed that the door wasn't closed but merely ajar. Realizing this, a slight smile appeared on his face as he walked in. Inside, Zhao Yixian wasn't asleep. Ever since the two of them had taken their relationship to the next level, she had already regarded Goof as her one and only for life. Realizing it was him entering, she quickly shut her eyes, her heart pounding rapidly. Are you really asleep? Goof approached the bed, looking at the woman lying there with her eyes tightly shut, and asked again. He could clearly hear Zhao Yixian's accelerated heartbeat and breathing, making it obvious that she was pretending to sleep. That deliberately unclosed door was left for him on purpose. Already asleep? Well, alright then. You rest well. Goof's lips curled into a slight smile as he pretended to turn away. But just then, a slender, snow-white arm shot out from under the covers and grabbed him. I wasn't sleeping, I was waiting for you. Came a soft, delicate voice from Zhao Yixian, her face instantly blushing as she pulled the blanket up, hiding her head beneath it. You little vixen, since you're not coming out, I will join you in there. Goof smoothly slipped under the blanket, discarding his clothes as he went, and set up a barrier in the room to isolate them. The warmth under the covers was palpable, and as their skin touched, Goof felt as if their souls were merging together. Before long, the atmosphere in the room became incredibly intimate. It's so hot. At one point, Zhao Yixian suddenly kicked the blanket away, leaving their two young bodies, completely uncovered, tightly entwined. Zhao Yixian has experienced feelings of joy, emotion value plus 100. Queen Medusa has experienced feelings of shame and anger, emotion value plus 100. At that moment, a small, colorful snake slithered from the foot of the bed to a corner of the room. In its 7 colored eyes, there seemed to be a hint of disdain. Goof was so focused on the task at hand that he automatically filtered out all other distractions, completely ignoring the system notifications. Damn it, how dare he humiliate me like this? Just wait until I... Inside the colorful snake, Queen Medusa's soul was silently cursing Goof. But Goof couldn't hear any of it. Despite her anger, Queen Medusa didn't dare act out because she knew that Goof's strength was such that he could crush her with a single finger. Moreover, after witnessing Goof and Zhao Yixian's interactions several times, Queen Medusa couldn't seem to shake those images from her mind. Although she had always thought such things were disgusting, that night, as she listened to the intimate sounds from nearby, she found herself having some strange thoughts. No, how could I have such filthy thoughts? Queen Medusa's soul fiercely resisted those thoughts, secretly vowing to escape Goof's clutches as soon as possible. The next day, around noon, Goof finally got up. After tucking Zhao Yixian in, he dressed himself and casually placed the somewhat dejected and resentful little snake into his sleeve. As he stepped out of the room, he noticed King Lin standing not far from the door. King Lin smiled slightly. Big brother Goof, you're up. Where's Sister Zhao Yixian? Why hasn't she come out yet? Hearing the girl's question, Goof felt a bit embarrassed and vaguely replied, she's still a bit tired and resting. It's already noon, and Sister Zhao Yixian is still tired after sleeping so long. Did you stay up all night practicing? King Lin wondered aloud, puzzled. Practicing all night. Goof found her words a bit awkward and, not wanting to dwell on the topic, quickly found an excuse to walk away. He then sought out Lion King and Venerable Tian Huo, instructing them to protect King Lin and Zhao Yixian. With Yao Tian Huo's strength, he could be considered a formidable figure even in the Holy Pill City. As for Goof, he intended to visit the Pill Tower in the inner region and meet some important people. The Pill Tower was located in the center of the Holy Pill City's inner region, a place considered a holy land in the hearts of countless alchemists. Upon entering the inner region, The noisy clamor significantly diminished as Goof stepped through the city gates. The inner region of the Holy Pill City was generally reserved for those with connections to the Pill Tower or high-ranking alchemists, so its quality far surpassed that of the outer region. As he set foot in the inner region, Goof lifted his gaze, and his eyes settled on the center of the inner region. There, a towering black tower, nearly 100 meters high, stood imposingly, like a small mountain, exuding an aura of majestic grandeur. The tower's pinnacle pierced the clouds, making it nearly impossible to see the top, and the swirling mist around it added an air of mystery. So, that's the Pill Tower. Looking at the towering black structure that seemed like a pillar holding up the sky, Goof's face showed a hint of awe. This time, Goof had come with the intention of directly meeting the Pill Tower's top figures to express his desire to try and subdue the 3,000 burning flame, curious about what conditions the Pill Tower might set. The area around the Pill Tower was heavily guarded, so as Goof approached, he fully released his aura, revealing his status as a strong individual to avoid unnecessary trouble. I would like to request a meeting with the 3 association heads of the Pill Tower, Goof stated directly. This man's aura is strong, perhaps even stronger than Elder Sheng. Could he be Advenerate? Advenerate this young? How is that possible? At this moment, the guards did not underestimate him, noticing the powerful aura Goof was emanating. The 3 association heads are very busy, and we cannot guarantee they will meet you. Notify the elder, the lead guard said seriously. Although Goof had shown the aura of Advenerate, it wasn't enough to make these Pill Tower guards fearful, as they were confident that no one would dare cause trouble at the Pill Tower. Thank you. Goof smiled. After a short while, an elder in a white robe emerged from the Pill Tower and approached. Judging by his cultivation, he seemed to be a 2-star Advenerate. Greetings, Elder Lee. As the elder arrived, the surrounding guards respectfully saluted him. So, it really is the aura of Advenerate. The elder examined Goof carefully, his eyes filled with surprise. He had never seen someone so young with such a high level of cultivation. Although Elder Lee also suspected that Goof might not be as young as he appeared, he couldn't detect anything unusual about him. Chapter 88, The Enchantress Kaoying. This is Elder Lee, one of the 8 great elders of the Pill Tower. A guard introduced the old man to Goof. Elder Lee, I am Goof. Goof smiled and nodded in greeting, without any particularly grand ceremony. Goof, young friend, may I ask where you are from? Elder Lee inquired, not minding the lack of formality, considering that Goof's cultivation was on par with his own. From the eastern region, Goof responded frankly. The eastern region? Surname Gu. Could he be from? Elder Lee's face suddenly showed a look of shock as he processed the information. The Gu clan of the eastern region was like an emperor over all other forces. The stronger one became in the Central Plains, the more one understood the terrifying power of the Gu clan. As Elder Lee speculated that Goof might be from this powerful family, he felt deeply shaken. Young friend, please follow me. With Elder Lee, one of the high-ranking members of the Pill Tower, leading the way, Goof passed through the strict outer inspections and entered the vast Pill Tower. Inside the Pill Tower, Elder Lee guided Goof straight to the upper levels of the giant tower. After a while, they stopped outside an exceptionally spacious hall. Goof waited outside while Elder Lee went in to announce his arrival. All right, young friend. The association head has agreed to meet with you, Elder Lee said, returning outside to signal Goof to enter. The hall was filled with numerous bookshelves, giving off a somewhat chaotic appearance. It was adorned with flames of various colors, the intertwining hues creating a dreamlike and mesmerizing effect. Goof stepped lightly on the stone floor, his gaze sweeping across the room before pausing at a particular bookshelf. There, an elderly man in white robes was carefully dusting the shelves. This elderly man exuded no aura at all, appearing entirely ordinary. However, someone who commanded the respect of Elder Lee could hardly be a common person. Goof wasn't overly surprised, he had encountered many such powerful figures before. Compared to the Gu clan, the Pill Tower's strength was like comparing a small stream to a vast ocean. This old man in the hall is one of the 3 association heads of the Pill Tower, Xuankongzi. This young man is indeed extraordinary. Although Elder Lee had already briefed Xuankongzi, seeing Goof's age, cultivation level, and soul realm for himself left Xuankongzi astonished. I assume you are Association Head Xuankongzi? Goof greeted with a smile. Indeed, Xuankongzi nodded. Goof, young friend, what brings you here? Junior has come to attempt to subdue the 3,000 burning flame that the Pill Tower has imprisoned, Goof stated directly. He knew that the Pill Tower had been suppressing the 3,000 flames flame for many years, looking for someone suitable to tame it. As long as the flame didn't fall into the hands of their enemy, the Soul Hall, the Pill Tower wouldn't oppose it. Are you confident in subduing the 3,000 burning flame? Xuankongzi asked seriously, his expression changing slightly. If I have come, Then I have some confidence, Goof replied without hesitation. Although the Pill Tower has yet to subdue the 3000 burning flame, it remains a treasure of the Pill Tower. It's traditionally awarded to the winner of the Pill Gathering, so your request to take it breaks the usual rules, Xuan said calmly, his tone giving no indication of his decision. Since it belongs to the Pill Tower, I would naturally offer compensation for taking it, Goof smiled, inviting the elder to name his terms. Hey, you misunderstand, Xuan waved his hand, not intending to ask for anything from Goof. Even I do not have the authority to decide on this matter directly. Please be patient while I discuss it with the others. Very well, I will await your news, Goof agreed before leaving the hall. However, he hadn't walked far when a figure appeared at the end of the wide corridor. The figure was a tall woman dressed in a black gown, exuding a cold and proud air. Her skin was as white as snow, her long black hair casually draped over her shoulders. Though her face was slightly thin, it was remarkably delicate, like fine porcelain, evoking a desire to cherish her. She stood at the corridor's corner, her long, narrow eyes lazily looking ahead, carrying an alluring charm that was hard to ignore. This woman naturally exuded a strong sense of temptation, and even Goof couldn't help but appreciate her beauty. Ah, it's youngster Kaoying. Elder Lee, who was walking beside Goof, greeted the woman warmly, indicating their familiarity. Greetings, Elder Lee. The woman in black smiled as she greeted Elder Lee, but her gaze soon shifted to Goof. Elder Lee, who is this? Kaoying asked curiously. She had never seen Goof before, so why was he coming from her teacher's place? Moreover, Goof's overwhelming presence was shocking to her. This is young friend Goof, who just had a discussion with the association head, Elder Lee explained briefly, as he wasn't yet sure of Goof's identity. Hearing how Elder Lee addressed Goof, Kaoying became even more curious. Normally, Elder Lee referred to the younger generation in the Pill Tower as boy or girl. He came to speak with my teacher? What could it be that required bothering my teacher? Although Kaoying was curious, she didn't ask directly. Greetings, Goof, Kaoying said, addressing him politely. Hello, Goof responded with a simple nod before continuing on his way. What a strange person. Kaoying murmured to herself as she watched him leave. Kaoying was the most outstanding talent in the history of the Cao family, becoming a personal disciple of one of the 3 Pill Tower heads at the age of 15. Now, just past 17, she had already reached the rank of a 6th-tier alchemist. At this pace, she was a potential candidate to become one of the Pill Tower heads in 100 years, or even surpass that status under the right circumstances. The Pill Tower was considered the holy land for all alchemists on the continent. The association heads were revered as spiritual leaders by countless alchemists. Given her achievements and the various dazzling honors she carried, Kaoying was someone whom many people admired. Her beauty was also extraordinary, but Goof's casual attitude set him apart from others, making Kaoying inexplicably intrigued by him. Chapter 89, Zhao Yi's Jealousy. Kaoying's curiosity and confusion increase, emotional value plus 40. Kaoying gazed at Goof's departing figure, casually tucking a strand of hair behind her ear as she gently bit her lower lip. Senior Lee, what exactly did Goof want to discuss with my teacher? She asked curiously after Goof disappeared around the corner. That. I am not entirely sure either. The leader is inside. You might as well ask him directly, Elder Lee replied, shaking his head. Kaoying frowned slightly, nodded, and walked toward the grand hall, her skirt fluttering as she moved. Inside the hall, Xuan stood with his back to her, gazing out the window, a flash of sharp light in his seemingly aged eyes. Teacher, what did that man want? Kaoying asked impatiently after greeting Xuan, eager to know about Goof. Normally, Kaoying wouldn't be so curious about someone Xuan had met. However, Goof gave her an unusual feeling, and it wasn't just because of Elder Lee's respectful address. There was also her own intuition. Xuan turned to face her, speaking calmly. That young man wanted to try to subdue the 3000 burning flame. Upon hearing this, a rare look of surprise appeared in Kaoying's usually seductive eyes. She straightened her posture, her brows furrowing with doubt. So many predecessors in the Pill Tower have failed to subdue the 3000 burning flame. Can he really do it? He seemed quite confident. Even I think he has a good chance, Xuan responded with a smile. Kaoying fell silent, surprised that her teacher had such faith in Goof. What kind of abilities did he possess? Xun'er, that young man has already reached the venerate realm in his cultivation. Xuan said, his voice soft. Kaoying was momentarily stunned, never expecting that someone so young would possess such formidable power. But Xuan next words shocked her even more. And his soul power is exceptionally strong. His alchemy skills should be quite advanced. Kaoying's breath caught as she began to grasp the situation. For Xuan to personally commend someone's soul power, Goof must be extraordinary. She narrowed her eyes, suddenly wondering if Goof was a highly skilled individual using some kind of technique to maintain a youthful appearance. Xun'er, with your talent, you rank among the best in this region. But compared to him, there's still a long way to go. Teacher, could it be? Is he actually some kind of elder? She asked, still holding on to some skepticism. As one of the most talented individuals in Holy Pill City and the Pill Tower, Kaoying was naturally proud. She had been a leader among the younger generation for years, and the sudden emergence of someone even more exceptional was hard for her to accept. Kongzi gazed at Kaoying for a moment before slowly shaking his head, denying her guess. He was certain that Goof hadn't used any technique to appear younger, he was genuinely young. Kaoying couldn't hide her shock, her beautiful eyes widening slightly as she struggled to comprehend her teacher's high regard for Goof. She took a deep breath, feeling an unsettling suspicion. Teacher, does that mean? Has he already reached the level of a peak 7th grade alchemist? She asked, her voice tinged with uncertainty. Kongzi shook his head again, his eyes filled with deep meaning. Not 7th grade, his soul power has already entered the true spirit realm. The spirit realm? How is that possible? Kaoying's breathing quickened, her chest heaving as her lips trembled in disbelief. Goof, who appeared to be around her age, was such a monstrous talent. This revelation dealt a heavy blow to her usual self-confidence. She stepped back in disbelief, quickly finding an excuse to leave the room. She had to learn more about Goof. After Kaoying left, Kongzi sighed softly. Before long, 2 other figures appeared in the grand hall. One was a black-robed old man with dark skin, his face tight with a stern expression. The other was a beautiful woman dressed in a cheongsam. Though likely no younger than Kongzi, she looked like a woman in her 30s, her expression calm, with a touch of grace accumulated over the years. These 2 were also Pill Tower leaders, Tianlzi and Xuanyi. As the 3 leaders gathered, Kongzi quickly explained the situation. Tianlzi's initial reaction was to refuse. Pill Tower's rules can't be easily broken. I understand, but after so many years, no one has been able to refine it, and it still requires our constant attention. At least, he's the most promising candidate I have seen in all these years. Xuanyi, usually quiet, glanced thoughtfully at the stars outside the window before slowly nodding. If you say so, it's worth considering. Tianlzi hesitated. It was rare for Kongzi to hold such a high opinion for a young man. If there's no issue with his identity, let him try. Tianlzi finally relented but insisted on confirming Goof's identity. They sent people to investigate Goof's background when he arrived, which inn he was staying at, and who his companions were. However, they were all unfamiliar with Huo, the venerate who accompanied him. Goof. Gu clan. As they repeated these names, the 3 leaders exchanged glances, their eyes filled with intrigue. Could he really be from that ancient, mysterious clan? Tianlzi seemed to confirm Kongzi's suspicion, no longer voicing any objections. After further discussion, they decided to let Goof try, hoping to form a good relationship. After all, the Pill Tower had long wanted someone to deal with the 3000 burning flame. Keeping it sealed in the star realm required their constant maintenance. Whether Goof succeeded or not wasn't their concern. Elsewhere, Goof had returned to the inn. Along the way, he thoughtfully bought a dessert for Zhao Yizyan. So sweet. Zhao Yizyan smiled sweetly as she tasted the treat. Zhao Yizyan feels a sense of attachment, emotional value plus 100. Meanwhile, King Lin's gaze shifted between Zhao Yizyan and Goof. This made Goof feel a bit awkward. He glanced away, feeling guilty, as if worried that King Lin would ask him about their previous training again. Seeing Goof's reaction, Zhao Yizyan chuckled, knowing that King Lin had also asked her about their training. King Lin, why don't you join us? Zhao Yizyan offered, using food to distract King Lin. After they finished eating, with nothing else to do, Goof decided to take Zhao Yizyan and King Lin on a tour of Holy Pill City while waiting for the Pill Tower's final decision. Brother Goof, sister Zhao Yizyan, let's check out that place. King Lin excitedly pulled them toward a bustling area of the city. Suddenly, a lazy yet alluring female voice called out from behind them. Young Master Goof, what a coincidence. I didn't expect us to meet again so soon. Goof turned around to see who it was. It was none other than Kaoying, dressed in the same black gown, which made her fair skin look even more radiant and her features particularly exquisite. Goof hesitated. Kaoying claimed it was a coincidence, but it seemed more like she had sought him out. Zhao Yizyan and King Lin also turned around, both instantly noticing that the speaker was an extraordinary beauty. Recalling Kaoying's words, Zhao Yizyan slowly glanced at Goof, asking softly, do you know her? Kaoying's stunning beauty and her earlier remark made Zhao Yizyan a bit sensitive. Chapter 90, I'd like to have a deep discussion with you. Zhao Yizyan experiences jealousy and suspicion, emotion value plus 120, Hearing the system prompt, Goof couldn't help but furrow his brow. When did this girl become so sensitive? He met Zhao Yizhuan's gaze and smiled as he responded, I saw her briefly when I went to the Pill Tower earlier today to discuss matters with Yuan Kongzi. Just saw her briefly. Can a woman who looks like an enchantress be so enthusiastic about greeting someone on the street just because of that? Zhao Yizhuan still felt uneasy after hearing Goof's explanation. However, she eventually chose to trust him, as his attitude toward that woman was quite indifferent. Even if that woman had any improper intentions, it seemed to be just wishful thinking on her part. In fact, it only proved how attractive her brother was. Yes, it was a coincidence, Ms. Caoying. I have something else to do, so I will be going now. Goof casually acknowledged Caoying and was ready to leave. Seeing Goof respond this way to Caoying, Zhao Yizhuan felt much more at ease. She affectionately moved closer to Goof, the two walking shoulder to shoulder, ready to leave together with King Lin, who was watching the situation with a puzzled expression. Please wait, young Master Goof. Just as Goof took a step forward, a charming and lazy voice called out from behind him. Goof frowned slightly, pausing his steps and turning to look at Caoying's alluring face. Does Ms. Caoying need something? Although Goof was smiling, Caoying could clearly see that the smile didn't reach his eyes. Caoying's eyes sparkled with a seductive charm, a natural allure that made it hard for people to look away. She covered her mouth with a smile and said, Last time we met, we didn't have a deep conversation. Now that we have time, why don't we chat for a while? Hearing Caoying's invitation, Goof raised an eyebrow. His brief hesitation was, of course, noticed by the Zhao Yizhuan beside him. Zhao Yizhuan experiences nervousness, emotion value plus 100 without hesitation. Zhao Yizhuan openly took Goof's arm, the two now intimately close as if she was asserting her claim in front of Caoying. The two women exchanged glances, with underlying tension. Zhao Yizhuan's beauty, though not as seductive as Caoying's, exuded a gentle warmth that was comforting, like a celestial maiden. If Caoying was a seductive enchantress, then Zhao Yizhuan was a fairy who had descended to the mortal world. The two women had completely different temperaments but were equally mesmerizing. I don't think that's necessary. Goof noticed Zhao Yizhuan's emotions and immediately rejected Caoying. This rejection was like a cold splash of water on Caoying. Caoying experiences shock and frustration, emotion value plus 60. She had always been proud, and in the vast Pill Tower, there wasn't a man she looked up to. Usually, as soon as she spoke, countless men would flock to her, eager to please. Yet Goof had repeatedly ignored and rejected her, making her feel not only embarrassed but also a strange flame igniting in her heart. Young Master Goof, I heard from my teacher that you are also an alchemist. In fact, I came here today to have a sparring session with you. Caoying hid her emotions and spoke again. Sparring? Hearing Caoying's words, Goof chuckled softly, his gaze falling on her. His expression was calm, making it hard to tell whether he was amused or dismissive. Of course, this sparring is not about comparing cultivation levels, but rather, a contest of souls. Caoying smiled sweetly, her delicate face exuding a captivating allure. This woman was like a bewitching fox, every movement enough to drive men crazy. Almost every man around had their eyes fixed on her. Caoying was quite famous in Holy Pill City, not only for her enchanting beauty but also for her exceptional alchemy talent. Some onlookers who recognized her couldn't help but gasp in surprise, their gazes shifting to Goof. Who was this person that made the enchanting Caoying challenge him? Caoying's enchanting smile was indeed effective. Even Goof's eyes showed a moment of appreciation, but he only responded indifferently to her challenge, "You're not qualified." Goof's words were not meant to belittle her but were a sincere reflection of his thoughts. In his perception, Caoying's soul power was merely at the late stage of the mortal realm, far below his own spiritual realm. The difference was like that between an ant and an elephant, completely incomparable. Caoying experiences mild anger, emotion value plus 60. Goof's blunt words undoubtedly made Caoying feel slighted. She subtly adjusted a strand of hair that had fallen on her forehead, her smile becoming even more alluring. "Young Master Goof, please grant me the honor of a lesson." Caoying shamelessly persisted. As she spoke, without waiting for Goof's response, her delicate, white hands swiftly formed a seal, and in an instant, the soul power surrounding her rapidly condensed, transforming into a soul phoenix. The phoenix flapped its wings, causing the space around it to twist rapidly. As its flapping speed increased, faint black spatial cracks began to spread around it. As expected of the enchantress, I heard her cultivation and soul power have improved a lot since her last retreat. This soul phoenix is truly terrifying. The surrounding crowd, witnessing the soul phoenix's power, stepped back in fear. At this moment, Caoying wore a confident smile, her delicate hand lightly waving to control the soul phoenix and press it toward Goof. "Disperse," Goof calmly said, his gaze fixed on the soul phoenix. Instantly, an invisible soul storm emerged, tearing the phoenix apart in a blink, reducing it to faint glimmers of light that quickly vanished. The event happened too quickly and suddenly. The once powerful phoenix stood no chance against Goof, who didn't even raise a hand, simply uttering a single word. Cao Ying experiences shock, emotion value plus 100. Cao Ying's lips bled slightly, her eyes filled with shock as she sensed the sudden soul storm. I never expected him to have truly reached that level. And he's so young? How did he do it? Cao Ying experiences admiration, emotion value plus 60. Admiration flickered in Cao Ying's eyes. That realm was the goal she had been pursuing for years. Just now, it was presumptuous of me. The next moment, she wiped the blood from her lips and smiled as she respectfully bowed to Goof. Thank you, young Master Goof, for showing mercy. Honestly, the match was lost too quickly, so quickly that she had no chance to fight back and was easily crushed by Goof. However, failure wasn't entirely a bad thing, it would help her in her future cultivation. You have good potential. Goof nodded slightly, appreciating Cao Ying's attitude. He wasn't angry at her sudden attack. With that, he turned decisively and continued strolling with Zhao Yizhuan and the others. Chapter 91, You Can't Escape from Missy's Palm. Cao Ying's emotions shift towards curiosity and admiration, emotional value plus 60. Watching Goof's figure slowly fade into the distance, Cao Ying's eyes glimmered with intrigue. Her long, enchanting eyes sparkled with a peculiar light. She was naturally proud and competitive, relishing not in being unbeatable but in meeting truly worthy opponents. Goof's appearance brought about a significant change in her mindset. Goof, you won't escape from Missy's grasp. After a moment, Cao Ying let out a light hum, gently clenched her delicate hand, and a bewitching smile reappeared on her exquisite face, making her already captivating features even more alluring. At that moment, Zhao Yizhuan, who was holding Goof's arm, happened to glance back at Cao Ying. The two women exchanged what seemed to be a calm look, but beneath the surface, there was a palpable tension. Perhaps it was a woman's intuition, but Zhao Yizhuan sensed a hint of threat. She tightened her grip on Goof's arm, pulling him slightly closer. Caught off guard, Goof nearly stumbled from the unexpected tug. Zhao Yizhuan feels nervous, emotional value plus 100. Silly girl, what are you overthinking about? Through the emotional value notification, Goof became aware of the emotions of the two women, and a wry smile appeared on his face. In the past, in the Gu realm, he had been entirely devoted to Xun'er, but the result was far from satisfactory. Now, having left Xun'er, he realized the true extent of his own charm. The next morning, Goof sensed a presence approaching and got up to open the door. Outside, an elder dressed in the Pill Tower's robe was waiting. Young friend, the three heads have agreed to your request. Please follow me to the Pill Tower. Give me a moment. Goof smiled and responded to the elder, then turned back to close the door. Just then, Zhao Yizhuan woke up, rubbing her eyes in a daze and asked in a hoarse voice, Who's here? It's an elder from Pill Tower. The three heads have agreed to my request. Upon hearing this, Zhao Yizhuan became a bit more alert, her eyes showing a hint of joy. That's great. Goof smiled as he gently tousled her messy hair. However, the trip to there might take some time. After all, the 3000 burning flame was far more powerful than the previous heavenly flames he had refined. Its power surpassed that of many low-leveled venerates. I understand. Although Zhao Yizhuan was reluctant, she didn't ask further, nodding sensibly, her gaze filled with warmth. Gu felt as if his heart was soaking in warm water, a comforting sensation spreading within him. Perhaps I will be back today. Goof smiled, leaning in to softly kiss Zhao Yizhuan's delicate lips, making her blush, before leisurely leaving. Afterward, Gu followed the elder to the Pill Tower. I am Kaiuling, the first elder of the Pill Tower. Upon arriving, Goof was personally greeted by the first elder of the Pill Tower. His cultivation level was stronger than that of the previous elder Li, having reached the 5-starred venerate. Many within the Alchemist Association, upon seeing the first elder personally welcome an unfamiliar young man, couldn't help but show curious expressions. Cao Ying was also among the crowd. When she saw Goof arrive, her eyes suddenly brightened. Cao Ying feels surprised, emotional value plus 60. Young Master Goof, what a coincidence to see you again. Thank you for your guidance yesterday. Goof merely offered a polite, faint smile, which encouraged Cao Ying to chat with him enthusiastically, her eyes gleaming with interest. Not far behind Cao Ying stood a young man. Seeing Cao Ying's warm attitude towards Goof, the young man's eyes flashed with jealousy. However, he had already learned of Goof's strength from others and, knowing Goof's power, dared not act rashly. Goof paid no attention to these people's feelings, not even the slightest fluctuation in his gaze. His only purpose here was the 3000 burning flame. Following this, Kaiu Ling led Goof into the Grand Hall, where Zhuan Kongzi, Tian Lei and Zhuan Yu were waiting for them. Young friend Goof, although we have agreed to let you enter the Star Realm, capturing this flame involves considerable risk. Do not push yourself too hard, Xuankongzi advised after a moment's hesitation. Goof's gaze was resolute as he nodded solemnly. Seeing this, Xuankongzi sighed lightly, then suddenly, a rippling silver spatial gate appeared in the space before them. Young friend, follow me. Caillou Ling entered first, and Goof followed without hesitation. As the spatial ripple enveloped them, their figures disappeared from the sight of the three heads. Upon entering the Star Realm, Goof subtly observed his surroundings. He felt an intense heat rush towards him, and simultaneously, the heavenly flames within him began to stir. This reaction only occurred when other heavenly flames were nearby. The so-called Star Realm was a space forcibly torn open by the three heads of the Pill Tower. Naturally, this space could not compare to the mystical land of the Gu Realm where Goof had lived. It appeared rather barren, with a faint heat haze permeating the surroundings. Dim, scattered light faintly penetrated the space, casting a somewhat cool glow. Caillou Ling led the way, swiftly flying through the void, with Goof following closely. After nearly 10 minutes, a searing radiance suddenly appeared in the distant void. The light was so intense that it was like a sun, causing a stinging pain in the eyes. We're here. Be careful, Caillou Ling suddenly halted, turning his head to speak in a low voice. After saying this, Caillou Ling slowed down and gradually descended, with Goof quickly catching up. As they approached the blinding radiance, the object within it became clear to Goof. When Goof finally saw the object within the light, his expression changed. Inside the light was an enormous dragon, its size stretching beyond the limits of sight. The dragon's eyes were closed, its body coiled, and it was enveloped in a strange purple-black flame. As the flame flickered, the surrounding space seemed to twist and distort. In the vast void, the dragon's coiled body exuded an overwhelming presence, with the purple-black flames constantly seeping from its form, burning tirelessly. This grand spectacle left an indelible impression of awe. Though Goof had glimpsed this scene briefly during his soul wandering, it was only now, standing before it, that he truly grasped the overwhelming grandeur of such an ancient marvel. Before the dragon, his own form seemed as insignificant as an ant. So, this is the 3,000 burning flame. Goof murmured, his gaze filled with both fervor and hesitation. This time, Goof realized he might have been too hasty. The 3,000 burning flame might still be beyond his current capabilities to subdue. Chapter 92, Can't Handle It. Then I will just call for backup. However, since Goof was already here, he decided he might as well give it a try. Caillou Ling noticed the expression on Goof's face and shook his head slightly, not optimistic about his chances. The entire Pill Tower was filled with powerful individuals, yet even the association heads had failed to refine the 3,000 burning flame. Goof's chances seemed equally slim. Young friend Goof, you can try sending a wisp of your soul force into that spot to see if you can pacify the 3,000 burning flame. But remember, do not damage the seal, Caillou Ling instructed, pointing to a special scale on the dragon's body. Pacify it. Upon hearing this, Goof couldn't help but silently ridicule the idea. No wonder no one in the Pill Tower had managed to refine the 3,000 burning flame after all these years. This thing had already developed human-like intelligence. How could it be pacified? There was no such thing as a true Buddhist path in this world. The 3,000 burning flame had been imprisoned in the Star Realm for so long, its hatred for humans ran deep. Given the chance, it would certainly go on a rampage. To refine it, one couldn't rely on the vague notion of pacifying it. The only way was to directly destroy its consciousness, revert it to a chaotic state, and then suppress and refine its source flame. Understood. Goof thought to himself, temporarily complying with the suggestion. He stepped forward, his gaze sweeping over the imposing dragon engulfed in flames before finding the human-sized scale. Indeed, that particular scale was free of flames. As Goof's gaze moved across the scale, he noticed it was covered in thread-like black lines. These lines were intertwined, forming strange runes that clung tightly to the scale, like a vast black net that enveloped the 3,000 burning flame, keeping it trapped. Goof understood that this was the seal jointly placed by the Pill Tower leaders, the very reason the 3,000 burning flame remained confined in the star domain. He stepped closer, sensing the faint aura of intimidation emanating from the scale. Let's see just how fierce this guy really is. With a probing mindset, Goof reached out, touching the special scale without hesitation. Surprisingly, the scale wasn't hot at all, instead, it carried a faint chill. But Goof had no time to ponder this anomaly. Closing his eyes, he cautiously channeled his soul force through his arm, allowing it to slowly infiltrate the scale. Boom. As soon as Goof's soul force penetrated the scale, a faint, low sound echoed, and his soul seemed to break through something, emerging in a strange void. This void was filled with purple-black flames, and at its center, Goof spotted a miniature dragon. This small fire dragon, though tiny compared to the massive dragon in the Star Realm, exuded an even more terrifying aura. However, the dragon was curled up with its eyes closed, as if in slumber. Seeing the dragon's closed eyes, Goof realized that this creature was the true source flame of the 3000 burning flame. Goof knew that the flame wasn't actually asleep. It had noticed him the moment he entered. 3000 burning flame, I know you want to escape. If you submit to me, I can help you leave this place. Goof's soul force swept over the small fire dragon as he spoke openly about his intentions. In the next instant, the small fire dragon's eyes abruptly opened. Its purple-black eyes, filled with coldness, locked onto Goof's soul. 3000 burning flame feels mockery. Emotion value plus 30 human, do you think I would believe such nonsense? Submit to you? How would that be any different from death? The fire dragon suddenly spoke in cold, mocking tones. No matter how strong it was, it had suffered countless betrayals at the hands of humans. Ever since it was sealed in the Star Realm, countless humans had attempted to refine it. From then on, the 3000 burning flame understood that all humans coveted its source fire. But their words were laughably hypocritical. They all claimed they would set it free. How ridiculous. Refining the source fire required erasing its consciousness, leaving only an empty shell. What difference would that make from death? Even if another consciousness eventually emerged, it would no longer be the same. So, you're not foolish after all. Goof wasn't surprised by the 3000 burning flame's reaction. This type of heavenly flame had already developed a level of intelligence no different from a human's. 3000 burning flame feels anger. Emotion value plus 30 get out. The 3000 burning flame roared in fury, its eyes burning with purple-black flames. The fire erupted violently from the fire dragon's body, surging toward Goof's wisp of soul force. If Goof's actual body had been present, he might have been able to resist, considering the heavenly flames within him weren't to be underestimated. But this was merely a wisp of his soul force, unable to withstand the flame's onslaught. The flame scorched his soul, engulfing Goof's figure in a sea of purple-black fire. Back in the Star Realm, Goof, whose hand was still touching the scale, suddenly opened his eyes, his face showing a trace of anger. He had pulled back just in time to avoid being burned. Seeing this, Elder Kaiu Ling understood that Goof had failed. Young friend Goof, many have tried to pacify the 3000 burning flame over the years without success. It seems your fate with it is insufficient. Hearing Kaiu Ling's words, Goof frowned. Elder Kaiu Ling, the 3000 burning flame has developed a consciousness as intelligent as a human's. The idea of fate is meaningless. Goof retorted, unafraid of offending anyone. If the Pill Tower continued with this ludicrous, pseudo-compassionate approach of trying to pacify it, no one would ever manage to subdue the 3000 burning flame. Dealing with a sentient being so filled with hatred for humanity required a far more direct approach. Then, young Master Goof, what do you propose? Can you suppress it directly? Kaiu Ling feels displeasure. Emotion value plus 30. Kaiu Ling's expression stiffened as he spoke. He was clearly annoyed, but knowing that Goof's background was likely extraordinary, he kept his tone somewhat restrained. Kaiu Ling believed that although Goof was gifted, he was still too young to have the power to subdue the 3000 burning flame directly. Suppress it directly. Goof remained silent for a moment, considering his options. So far, he had not asked for any help from his clan during this training journey. Since he couldn't defeat it alone, why not call for reinforcements? While I may not be able to subdue it myself, if one of my elders were to assist, suppressing the 3000 burning flame would be a simple task. Having made up his mind, Goof crushed a spatial jade slip. As it shattered, an immensely powerful spatial force surged forth, warping a section of space nearby into a rift. As the rift formed, a white figure slowly emerged from within. Chapter 93, Being a Young Master has its perks. Kaiu Ling feels anger, plus 20 emotion points. Young friend, the fact that we allowed you to enter the Star Realm to subdue the 3000 burning flame was already a rare exception by the Pill Tower. Yet, you're still planning to bring someone else in? This is simply too. Seeing Goof tear open the spatial jade slip, Kaiu Ling became a bit angry. His expression changed slightly, and he began to scold. Although Goof had a powerful background, his behavior was indeed an offense to the Pill Tower. However, before Kaiu Ling could finish his harsh words, he suddenly froze on the spot. As the white-robed elder stepped out of the spatial rift, an indescribably terrifying aura filled the Star Realm. Kaiu Ling's mouth hung open, swallowing back the words he was about to say. His eyes were filled with shock and disbelief. He stared at the ordinary-looking old man who emerged from the spatial rift, a hint of fear flashing in his eyes as he involuntarily took a step back. Who exactly was this person? That terrifying aura far surpassed even the 3 Pill Tower heads. The next moment, the space trembled slightly, and another elderly figure slowly appeared. It was Zhuan Kongzi, one of the 3 association heads. He had sensed the abnormal spatial fluctuations within the star realm and had hurriedly summoned the silver door to enter. Seeing Zhuan Kongzi arrive, Kaiuling breathed a sigh of relief and was about to speak when Zhuan Kongzi quickly gestured for him to stop, his expression grave. This terrifying aura. Could it be that this senior's realm? As soon as Zhuan Kongzi saw the white-robed elder, his heart skipped a beat, and his eyes showed a deep fear. Haha, goof, you finally remembered this old man. So, what trouble have you encountered this time? The elder, who had walked out of the rift, originally had a serious expression, with his aura continuously rising and his fingers flickering with light. He had rushed over, thinking Goof was in great danger. Seeing that Goof was unharmed, he finally relaxed, showing a kind smile. Grandpa Guzhong, can't I just see you without being in trouble? Goof laughed, speaking casually and with a tone of closeness. The person Goof had invited was a senior from his grandfather's generation, someone who had watched him grow up and had a very close relationship with him. Goof's storage ring held over a dozen similar spatial jade slips, each capable of summoning at least a half-saint powerhouse. These jade slips had been given to him by various uncles and elders from his clan, and Goof had only managed to bring a few after repeatedly refusing more. In the Gu clan, Goof was the center of everyone's affection. He had intended to use these jade slips sparingly, only in truly necessary situations, so as not to become overly reliant on them, which wouldn't be beneficial for his growth in strength. This was the first time he used a jade slip to summon a clan powerhouse for assistance. The summoned Guzhong was a 3-starred saint, completely overwhelming the strongest person present, Zhuan Kongzi. Even within the secretive Little Pill Tower, it would be difficult to find someone who could match him. Junior Zhuan Kongzi greets the senior. Zhuan Kongzi, observing the amiable conversation between the elder and the youth, wore a solemn expression. Guzhong's aura was simply too strong. In Zhuan Kongzi's perception, it even surpassed that of the Grand Elder of the Little Pill Tower. At this moment, Zhuan Kongzi dared not be negligent and respectfully stepped forward to greet him. Hearing this, Guzhong glanced at Zhuan Kongzi for a moment and nodded slightly. Now that Goof had brought in help, it was clear that he intended to take the 3000 burning flame today, to avoid any unforeseen complications. However, with Goof's personality, it was obvious he wouldn't forcefully seize the flame from the Pill Tower. Senior Zhuan Kongzi, the 3000 burning flame has been a nuisance to the Pill Tower. Why not let me take it away today? Goof politely clasped his hands together. Hearing this, Guzhong also nodded in agreement. Although the flame wasn't a particularly important treasure in his eyes, Goof's interest indicated it was highly compatible with his cultivation. Since young Goof has taken a liking to this flame, why not hand it over? Whatever compensation you require, just say the word. Upon hearing this, Zhuan Kongzi's expression turned peculiar, and he glanced at Goof. So, the boy's confidence earlier wasn't in his own ability but in the help he could summon. From the moment he saw Guzhong, Zhuan Kongzi could already confirm that Goof and his companion were from the ancient Gu clan. In Zhuan Kongzi's experience, members of the ancient clans were typically very proud. They rarely involved themselves in the affairs of the Central Plains or sought its resources. Even the 3000 burning flame was of little significance to such a clan. Guzhong and Goof's politeness already showed they were giving face to the Pill Tower. Since the senior has already spoken, then so be it. No compensation is necessary. After a moment of hesitation, Zhuan Kongzi agreed. He then quickly formed a seal with his hands. The strange runes on the black dragon slowly faded, and the black lines gradually receded. As soon as the seal was broken, the 3000 burning flame opened its eyes wide, let out a roar, and attempted to flee the star realm. Beast, try running again, and I will kill you with one slap. Seeing this, Guzhong shouted, his voice filled with overwhelming pressure. Although the 3000 burning flame had managed to resist the Pill Tower's 3 heads for many years, that didn't mean it had the actual strength to fight them. After all, the 3 heads had only sought to seal it, not destroy it, which was a completely different matter. Had they chosen to kill it, the flame would have long been extinguished. While the 3000 burning flame was known as an undying flame, the Pill Tower's 3 heads could have dealt with it if they had truly wanted to, but they were unwilling to go that far. Every kind of heavenly flame was a rare treasure for an alchemist. And these flames, having taken thousands or even tens of thousands of years to form, would be too precious to simply destroy. But Guzhong was different. If the flame didn't obey, he would destroy it without hesitation. Under Guzhong's oppressive aura, the highly intelligent 3000 burning flame indeed stopped fleeing, reluctantly remaining in place. At least you know your place, beast. Guzhong formed a seal with his hands, and a force enveloped the 3000 burning flame, forcibly compressing its massive body. Thank you, Grandpa Guzhong. Seeing this, Goof smiled. Having a strong background really makes a difference. Caillou Ling feels speechless and envious, plus 20 emotion points. Caillou Ling watched helplessly as Gu Zhuang took away the 3000 burning flame, silently complaining to himself. Chapter 94, Hope the new granddaughter-in-law is more sensible than the last. The previously fierce 3000 burning flames fell into Gu Zhuang's hands, becoming as soft as cotton, without any resistance. Thank you, Senior Zhuan Kongzi, for your generous gift. After Gu Zhuang took away the 3000 flames, Goof smiled and turned to thank Zhuan Kongzi. Zhuan Kongzi feels speechless and embarrassed. Emotion value plus 40. Goof's words made Zhuan Kongzi twitch slightly at the corner of his mouth, feeling a bit helpless. Generous gift? This was clearly being taken by force. Facing a 3-starred saint, Zhuan Kongzi didn't dare utter a single word of refusal. Of course, Zhuan Kongzi didn't show any of this on his face. In the end, it's because Goof has a special connection with the 3000 burning flame. Zhuan Kongzi nodded amicably towards Goof. Since things had came to this point, the more generously he spoke, the stronger the bond with the Gu clan would be. Yes, it certainly seems like fate. Goof responded with a smile. This guy changes his tune so quickly. The elder Caillou Ling, standing nearby, had a strange expression. He had previously heard Goof dismiss fate as nonsense. Goof, when do you plan to return to the Gu clan? Gu Zhuang feels concerned. Emotion value plus 10. Gu Zhuang glanced at the 3000 burning flame, now casually held in his hand, and then asked Goof. He asked this purely out of concern for Goof's safety. Gu Zhuang had heard that in the regions where Goof was training, Hun clan experts had been sighted. When a Hun clan expert briefly passed by outside the Jiama Empire's skies, an elder from the Gu clan accompanying Goof had detected it. Though the Hun clan expert's path didn't directly overlap with Goof's, many of the places where Goof trained bore signs of Hun clan activity. Given Goof's exceptional lineage, he was of immense importance to the Gu clan, and they couldn't afford to lose him. If the Hun clan discovered him, who knows what they might do? The Hun clan, after nearly 1,000 years of recuperation, seemed to be gearing up for something big, making caution all the more necessary. So Gu Zhuang asked this question out of worry, not to rush Goof but to offer a reminder. Even though Goof possessed extraordinary talent, reaching the venerate level at just 17, he still wouldn't stand a chance against an elder Hun clan expert. Only within the Gu realm could he be truly safe. Grandpa Gu Zhuang, I originally planned to return after obtaining the 3000 burning flames, but now I might need to stay a bit longer. Hearing Gu Zhuang's concern, Goof smiled and replied. He wasn't alone anymore, there were more people by his side now. If he were to return, he would definitely bring Zhao Yixian and King Lin with him. He wanted to bring Zhao Yixian home, hoping for his elders' recognition and blessings for their relationship. However, given Goof's status, his elders in the clan would certainly have high expectations for his chosen wife. His reluctance to return immediately was partly due to his desire for more training and partly because he feared Zhao Yixian might face unwarranted difficulties if she returned with him now. In the Gu clan, strength was revered. Although Zhao Yixian's cultivation had advanced rapidly due to her woeful poisoned body, she still couldn't match the young elites of the Gu clan who had been honing their skills for over a decade. If she couldn't command respect, even if the elders didn't say anything, others might, potentially driving her away from him. Goof's expression remained calm, but his gaze unconsciously drifted to a spot outside the star realm. Kid, are you worried that the clan won't accept my new granddaughter-in-law? Seeing Goof's change in expression, Gu Zhuang suddenly laughed and asked. This confirmed something for Goof. Even Gu Zhuang, who had long guarded the ancestral shrine, was well aware of his relationship with Zhao Yixian. This meant that his actions had likely been under the watchful eyes of his clan's elders. They probably knew all about Zhao Yixian. For once, Goof felt a bit nervous, his gaze flickering before settling on Gu Zhuang. He didn't know how his beloved grandpa Gu Zhuang would react. The woeful poisoned body, which had never been cultivated before, reaching the spirit level within a year, such talent isn't that bad. Gu Zhuang continued, his words clearly heard by Goof, with no hint of dissatisfaction towards Zhao Yixian. Just bring her back, the opinions of others in the clan don't matter. As long as you like her, that's what's important. Gu Zhuang stepped forward, smiling as he patted Goof on the shoulder, his words full of authority and affection. After all, this was the child he had watched grow up. Even though the clan elders insisted that Goof should marry someone of equal standing, with comparable talent and family background, to be a suitable wife, Gu Zhuang never thought this way. He couldn't stand the elders' self-righteous concern. Even though they truly wanted the best for Goof, they never asked him what he wanted. So, now that Goof had found someone new, Gu Zhuang was genuinely happy for him and didn't care about her strength, looks, or family background. As long as Goof was happy, that was enough. If those old guys dared to oppose it, he would be the first to stand up for Goof. Moreover, Gu Zhuang knew that since Goof had a new love, he had likely moved on from his feelings for Xun'er. I hope this new granddaughter-in-law isn't as willful as that girl, who broke his heart. Gu Zhuang sighed inwardly. Grandpa Gu Zhuang, you're the most reasonable. Hearing Gu Zhuang's words, Goof smiled gratefully. Such understanding elders were rare. Next, Goof's gaze fell on the now docile 3,000 burning flames in Gu Zhuang's hand. After a moment, he spoke. Grandpa Gu Zhuang, please take the 3,000 burning flames back to the clan for safekeeping. When I have the strength to refine it, I will return and handle it myself. I will make it mine in the future. Goof spoke earnestly. Given his current strength, refining it was still too risky, and he didn't want to take that chance. Gu Zhuang feels appreciative, emotion value plus 10. Haha, Goof, I have to say, your talent for controlling flames is even stronger than those from the Yan clan. I have never heard of anyone being able to refine 3 different heavenly flames simultaneously. Gu Zhuang praised, his face full of smiles. In his memory, even the Yan clan leader, Yan Jin, had only refined 2 heavenly flames. But Goof was already planning to fuse a 4th flame, a feat that astonished even the experienced Gu Zhuang. Chapter 95, Teacher, do you think I still have a chance? Little Goof, this old man is heading back first. You should bring your new wife home soon. And remember, stay safe. Gu Zhuang smiled as he patted Goof's shoulder. With a gentle wave of his hand in the air, a spatial rift appeared beside him. Don't worry, I will. I will head back in a while.